tried to search the bowels of hell, but I found someone.
They're big breaking TV. Welcome to prime time.
Welcome to Prime Time, everybody. It's our big break in TV. How are you guys feeling tonight?
Amazing.
Doing good.
Fantastic.
Very good. Very good.
All right,
I feel
audience.
moderately okay.
We're going to
Attaboy,
hype you up,
Johnny.
Johnny. We're going to hype you up with these movies because we have a great show tonight for the audience out there. We are talking the entire Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. We're going to discuss every single film in this franchise, including the remake, including Freddy vs. Jason. We're going to go chronological order. And then after that, we'll do our individual ranking reveals. And then we'll get to the group ranking reveal. So you guys can know definitive, based off this channel's hardcore research, what is the best Nightmare on Elm Street movie of all time. So that's going to be awesome. But let's see who is joining here tonight. We have an amazing member in the chat. Tiana loves
Hi,
movies.
Tiana.
Yeah. Tiana.
What's up?
You're amazing,
Tiana?
Mm-hmm. And of course, we got Magic Hands. Welcome, Magic. All right, and then let me go ahead and remind everybody out there, if you love the Nightmare on Elm Street films, go ahead and Freddy slash that like and subscribe. Use super chats to escape the nightmare with your comment. If you want it read live, you got to get out of that nightmare world, okay? And if you have ideas for streams, consider some memberships out there. If you're like, hey, you know, I love this other horror franchise, can you do a whole ranking like that for that one I love? Well, if you become a high tier member, that might just actually happen. So definitely consider that. But let's go ahead and get into our first film. We're not wasting any time tonight. We got the original OG, A Nightmare on Elm Street, 1984. Oh my gosh, 40 years ago. Wow, can you believe it, people? That's amazing.
Some of us were there the day one, Mike. Some of us.
I wasn't alive yet. I did not exist.
me.
This movie
I
came
know,
out.
we're here
so.
to cover for you.
It's got 2 years on my life. I was 86. So yeah.
All right. Well, let's just start with Johnny. How do you feel about this one out there?
I mean, this is an absolute classic. This movie actually made me afraid to actually fall asleep. And I saw a lot of bad stuff growing up, but Freddy, having someone come into your dreams to actually hurt you when you're told as a child that, you know, dreams, when you're asleep, you're completely safe. And to have someone come in there who can actually hurt you just really scared the hell out of me as a kid. And after rewatching it, I still don't, I may not go to sleep for a while. So, yeah.
So you enjoyed it overall then, we can say. You're positive on this one. All right, Huck.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Huck, how do you feel about the original now?
Well, look, so what I loved about rewatches, first of all, I watched all of these movies. Even some were rewatches, but some I've never seen. But I still watched every single one just to have a fresh perspective, even on things I thought I liked or maybe didn't like or vice versa. And look, this one, what I love about the first movie is it's not just a killing machine like Jason or Mike Myers. It gave you sort of this backstory to a very interesting character that, like Johnny said, he gets into your dreams and it haunts you that way. Unless it's some other movies where it doesn't stick to the script. But as far as this one goes, and Robert Englund, just what a personality, what a perfect pick for this character. And yeah, I mean, there's so much to say about it. I enjoyed the cast in this is fantastic. Got a little Johnny Depp appearing for the first time, doing a great job. Wes Craven killing it on the writing and directing. I love the tone. I love the atmosphere, and I love the music. I love that Freddy actually has an equally great theme song, just like all the other good horror icons. Yep. Like, I don't know. I'm not huge into the Chucky, so I don't know if he's got a theme. Maybe you guys would know, but there's no theme that jumps out into my head with Chucky. But Freddy, yes. So
positive on this one too.
Absolutely. I mean, how do you not?
All right, Fish, how do you feeling about this?
Oh, this movie, like Johnny said, it's classic. It actually is the movie that turned me into a horror fan. I was 6 years old when I watched this. So like shortly after it came out in theaters, probably I didn't see it in theaters, but I saw it on VHS shortly after that release. So probably around 6 or 7. Fantastic. I don't know why it drew me in, but it did, and I've been a fan ever since. I love this movie's fantastic to me. So yeah, made me a horror fan. Like Huck said, Robert Englund, fantastic casting. I just seeing him in other roles and then seeing him in this is just complete, mind-boggling how he took on this character. It's fantastic.
It's weird.
Great. Yeah, it's fantastic. One of my favorite shows from the 80s is V, and he was in it.
Yeah,
and to see that character in V and to see the character he played in Nightmare on Elm Street, it blew my mind that was the same guy. But yes, overall positive, very positive for me.
Yeah, Willie on V is the night and day difference than Freddy. He's like this sweet,
absolutely,
sort of friendly, lovable buddy. Yeah, Freddy is none of that.
Exactly.
Well, I'm sure Freddy Krueger was friendly and lovable.
You think?
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit too.
All right, Vin. I know you're a big fan of this franchise. How do you feel about the OG?
So, if everybody doesn't know me, this is my favorite franchise of all time. This one is a little bit before my time, though. I was born in 1986, so this movie came out in 84, so I didn't get to see it in theaters. I am jealous of all you guys that were able to do that. But I did have it on VHS. I had all of them on VHS, and I used to watch them all the time. I love the original. I love the whole idea that he created with the dreams. Because me personally, I love having nightmares. I love having nightmares because it feels like I'm living my own little personal horror movie. It literally feels like I'm living my own personal horror movie. But I mean, the problem is I really haven't had a dream in the past 2 years. Why? I have no idea, but I used to dream all the time as a kid. And I believe that it's sparked because of this movie. And I just love the whole idea and the creativity that they're able to do with that. This first one is not my favorite out of the franchise because I believe they get more creative with the dream sequences later on in the franchise. But this movie is still such an amazing way to set the bar. It has some amazing gore in it. I mean, when she gets slaughtered in the bed and stuff, you never realize how brutal that scene actually is. And it's beautiful in its own way. It's incredible when he slices off his fingers too, and that green ooze coming out. I mean, that color just stuck in my head as a child, and green is now one of my favorite colors because of that movie. So I mean, there's just so many things that movie has just impacted in my life and the whole franchise, and I think it's a masterpiece.
No dreams. What's happening? Are you taking like hypnocell over there? Right, that's what they say.
I know, whatever it is, I want the reverse.
Dreams.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. The kill scenes in this are the practical effects are fantastic. The room that they shot Tina's death scene in, the way it rotated and everything, and how they had to strap him in the corner as it rotated. It was everything about that. Johnny Depp's death. It was that's iconic.
Still one of the best kill scenes I've seen in that series.
Absolutely.
When you see the blood dripping from the ceiling, is incredible. I love that.
Yeah, I was going to say there's way more blood than would be in the human body, but that just goes to show you it doesn't matter. They're not doing it to trick you. They're just trying to say
exactly
nothing you can think of is we're going to kibosh all that. We're going to do whatever we want.
Yeah,
that's a lot of blood.
How do you know?
That's the beauty of the
actually
series.
Done research on this?
The way that those scenes were filled were incredible too. With the rotating rooms like that, having to fill it up with the blood upside down. It's incredible how they were to do that. It's just brilliant how he thought of all that kind of stuff.
All right, Jeff, how'd you feel on this one?
I'm pretty positive about this one. So as a 90s kid, we were all grew up with the three big ones, which was Michael, Jason, Freddy. Michael and Jason always made you scared of what was in your closet when you were laying in bed, but Freddy scared you about going to sleep. Like that was always the thing about Freddy was you weren't safe anywhere because you always got tired. You always fell asleep. And that's what really pulled me with this one was I didn't ever see anything quite like this before it or after it. None of the sequels were really able to replicate the same feeling for this one for me. They're all good in their own right. I don't dislike, well, for the most part, I don't dislike any of them. I have fun with all of them one way or another, but none of them quite replicate what this one did for me.
Wow, everybody's so positive on this one. So I got to take the opposite side and rant a little bit. Just to be fair, I do like this movie quite a bit. It's fairly high up on my list. Now hold your horses, okay? So I do really enjoy this one. But on a rewatch, I'm like, there's some issues with this. And I got to the party late on this one. Straight up, this was probably the last one out of the franchise that I saw. I saw all the other ones before this, all the sequels, everything else before I got to this one. Okay, so that's my mindset going in with this one. There's no nostalgia here, not during my time. So on a rewatch, there's some issues with this one. Like I said, it's good overall, but there's just some problems here. First of all, it doesn't explain much of why Freddy is after these children. And I'm somebody where if you got a new character, it's the first entry in a franchise, give me some exposition. Like, why is this dream demon terrorizing these teenagers? Like, I need more of a backstory. It doesn't really give you much. You're like, why is he after these teenagers? I don't know why. It's like barely anything.
That makes it scarier.
Some of it's hinted at, but no, I want some explanation. Like even in Halloween, you have still some kind of backstory with the opening scene and how you know Michael Myers gets up to being big Michael Myers, right? You have a little bit there, right? This you have nothing at all. It is just okay. There's an evil dream demon after people. Just
it's not nothing at all. I'm going to call you out on that. They do tip you.
He was killing kids.
Yeah.
They were talking about how he's killing kids and everything.
So I think it's one line or a couple just throwaway lines.
Yeah.
And he killed kids, but not much of anything else. Not with how the town and parents really played a big part. Like it's hinted at. There's little hints here and there.
You're supposed to use your imagination for the rest.
No imagination. Okay, I wanted to be told to be. Okay, so that was my issue there. Also, when you compare this Freddy to the other iterations of Freddy, I think this one looks the most goofy in my opinion. I think the sequel ones look better overall, but I mean, it's understandable. You got your first one and then you improve on it later. He acts kind of goofy in this as well. So I'm like, I'm not as scared by this villain as I am in other sequels because he just seems a little goofy. I don't know, he's just silly to me. Like his arm stretches across and that just looks really off. I'm like, that's not scary. It's just odd. It's just weird looking to me. I don't know. It looks silly to me. So to me, it just is more goofy on rewatches as when I compare it to other ones. That being said, I still really like it overall. The cast is great. I mean, Robert Englund with the lines and then how he like kind of slants down with the heavy glove and how he created that iconic movement. That's great. I like the initial premise of it, because they got it from, people were dying in their sleep and then they turned it into this franchise. I'm like, okay, that's an interesting premise. I think, Nancy, the main character is great. The friends, Johnny Depp in there. I'm like, oh my gosh, a young Johnny Depp. That's what he looked like before Pirates of the Caribbean. That's awesome. Yeah, you guys were right on with the kills, like the bed kill with the blood splattering is really cool. So yeah, there's some iconic stuff in here. And with the room rotating, like you guys said, another great kill in there. But like I said, I don't know, just some stuff is off to me in this one. And then at the end too, where she like starts to booby trap the house. And you think it would take some time, and she does it in like 2 minutes. You're like, how the heck did she move so fast and freaking Home Alone the sucker in like such the quickest time ever? Do you guys feel that way about that? I'm like, wow, this just happened like out of nowhere. Or am I the one?
No, because you just described it. She Home Alone it, so you let it go.
Yeah.
It's like, of course you did.
It takes time to do that. It takes time to do that. Like, show me a montage or something. Like,
that's
I need something. Like, I don't know. So there's a lot of things I have to just like, okay, throw away the logic here. But
anyway, come on now. You got a dream demon. You got to throw away some logic there.
Hey, I'm willing to have some fantasy here because it is very different. He is like a super villain with now superpowers because it is a fantasy setting, but you still got to meet me halfway a little bit.
It's like an evil Sandman.
And he's not super yet. Wait till we get to part 5, okay?
That's
Oh,
right.
God.
That's right. That's right. You tell him, Vin.
So anyway, I like the movie quite a bit, but I don't think it's perfection. I think there's a few issues there that,
I
get
get what you're
improved on
saying, but
with.
yeah, no.
I
When it
respect
comes
that.
to exposition, she does have that little scene with her when she takes her down to the furnace and shows her the
Yeah.
glove that she took, and she explains it all. Yeah, and they could have explained it a little, in more detail, but yeah, I mean, they hit all the points.
Yeah,
Child
and they
murderer.
weren't throwaway. They definitely weren't throwaway.
Yeah.
They hit all the points. Judge signed the warrant in the wrong place, let him
Yeah.
go. Parents took it in
Yeah.
their own hands. That's all. Yeah, boom. And now he's
See,
after their kids.
I'm modern,
Yeah.
where it's like you have a big exposition at the beginning, setting up the story. It's like it's
No,
just,
I
it's just how
like
it is.
the
It's just
fact
how
that it
it
came
is.
at the end. You're like, why? And then it comes out, why? And they're like, oh, man.
I want the why at the beginning.
Oh, Michael.
All right. Well, anyway,
yeah.
I
But yeah,
love this
no.
franchise though. This is
No,
probably my
fantastic.
second
Yeah.
favorite out of the slashers. Halloween's my favorite, then it's probably Nightmare on Elm Street. So let's move on to one that makes me question though if I like the franchise. A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. All right, Huck, you can start on this one.
Well, all right, well, first of all, what you need to see, the Warriors. I got the Slashers. Freddy
Yeah.
right there in the middle. Got my Freddy cup. I'm ready
Nice.
to go.
I got some Freddy
Um,
stuff here too, but I'd have to take a walk, so you just wait.
Right? See, the reason I set it up so nicely is because I'm about to take a big old dump on number 2.
Oh,
Look,
Do it.
man.
Dump it all over.
Look, it was watching all these, and again, back to back, I did them all in order. And I get it. 2, I feel like some people talk about 2 like some people talk about Halloween 3. It's like, yeah, it's so different. It's a masterpiece.
Oh my
All right, I
God.
mean, I get it if it connects with you that way. But to me, I feel like the relationship, like okay, first of all, the Jesse and the Grady relationship. The guy is a jock and an a-hole to Jesse, and yet for some reason Grady's the one he always goes to when he needs support. It's like, no, you don't go to your bully, you go to your best friend. And the fact that why are we picking this guy? And even like when he tries to help him, he slaps, I don't know. So like that relationship just organically does not work when you watch the film. Now, I like the characters. I actually like Grady more than I like the League. I like that he got kung fu and all this stuff, and so some of that stuff is kind of neat. But I didn't think that it was very well written, and of course, I think that you break the rules of Freddy by having him just come out into the real world and just attack people. Now that's a whole different thing. Now you've got Jason. Now this is Jason.
But there were no rules for Freddy yet.
And he
Well,
wants to join the
no, that's
party.
not
The
true.
hardcore
That's
game.
not true. The original has that he attacks in your dreams, and if you grab him, you can pull him out. Those were and even Wes said, those that was the establishment of the character. But I understand. It's like, well, maybe we don't know all the rules. So I'm with you on that, Jeff. It's like maybe there is more. Maybe he can come out. We just never found that rule, and we get that rule in number 2. I just felt that if he could do that, it sort of takes away what makes him special. And I felt like that's special quality, that he's a dream killer. I was like, ah. And again, I just felt the relationship with the 2 guys. It's like, what are we doing with these 2 guys? Yeah. Anyway, so that's my take on 2.
All right, Fish. You're a little higher on this one, right?
I'm kind of middle road high on this one. Yeah. I like this one. This one, growing up, for some reason, I know why now. But this has become like a cult classic in the series, for some people, and especially the gay community has embraced this one wholeheartedly, for a lot of the eroticism. Of course, there's the leather daddy bar scene. You got the coach running Jesse, and then you got the shower scene, and there's just so many things. And in the relationship with Grady and Jesse, that little questionable relationship there. But yeah,
Yeah.
I do enjoy this one as well. There's not a whole lot in this series that I don't like. But growing up as a young gay kid, seeing that stuff and not knowing what it was, but actually knowing what it is now, like the undertones and the subtleties of, and some of it not so subtle, but
Yeah.
I enjoyed this. I did have issues, like Huck said, with the actual, real world coming out stuff. But overall, I did enjoy this. I find Nancy's diary and her story kind of continues on. Nancy's my favorite final girl. Forgot to say that when we were talking about the first one, but she's my favorite final girl in the series.
I think she's beautiful too.
She's fantastic, wonderful. She's actually from here, Tulsa, where I'm from. She
Really?
graduated from Tulsa,
That's
so
cool.
I always love that as well. But I did enjoy Nightmare 4. I do enjoy this one. But yeah, I do understand where Huck's coming from. But yeah, I have a different take on it for being the gay man that I am. Yeah.
Well, and it's funny, Fish, because I like that part. I like that they were brave enough to go there. I just felt that organically it would have been better if the two characters liked each other.
Right.
They were always at odds. So they were always at odds, but then to also put them in a homoerotic situation, I was like, what are you just trying to do something to do it? Then it felt like a little forced. It's like I felt maybe the one guy liked the other guy more than the other one. I don't know. You know what I mean? I felt that the two characters could have had a little bit more loving quality to each other, which I didn't feel like they did.
Yeah, no, I get that. Absolutely.
All right, Vin, how you feel on this one?
All right, so me personally, I think this is a very underrated one and a very hated on for stupid reasons. This movie, I feel like this movie is a great follow up for the other one. Yes, they did go a different route, and a few things I feel like I explain away. But I mean, the whole reason he was able to come into the real world is one main scene. He says, "You got the," or no, what he said, "You got the body, I've got the brain." So he's basically stepping his game up with his killing and able to now embody this other human, but in his own force, and that's how he's basically able to come to in the real world. And with me personally, those small, and for me, I feel like very few little gay scenes that are in there, I feel like those are brave that they put those in there. And I feel like it's that weird uncomfortability for people that aren't in that scene to break down your feelings. And then I feel like that makes you more vulnerable in the movie. So I actually think that was really cool that they actually added that in a creativity way to actually get you more involved in the movie. At the end, when they start going into that warehouse and everything like that, the different dogs, the kind of the tone that was in that place and how it looked burnt and everything like that really, really reminded me of the original. And I love that. And that's kind of where that one kind of gave that kind of same feel. But they did go a different route, but I really think they accomplished it pretty well. And even when he coming out of his chest too, that scene right there looked freaking amazing. When he rips open his head like that, that looks amazing. That slaughter at the pool, that is freaking amazing. I feel like it's so underrated, and I feel like it has a lot going on for that movie that a lot of people hate on for some stupid reasons of just homophobia, really.
All right, Johnny, how do you feel on this one?
Hey.
We'll get
okay.
We're jumping back and forth. Come on now.
Okay. I do have issues with this. One being Freddy's got red eyes in this, but yet we don't see it anywhere else. That's one. I have no problem with the whole Jesse Grady dynamic. To me, if this kid, he's obviously just moving in, right? Because he still needs to put all of his stuff away. How the hell did he not see the diary? Because the diary's red and that closet is white. How did he not see that in there? I'm not going to talk about where he's actually unpacking his room and starts to his little dance.
That's one of the best
scenes ever. I'm not going to go in there because, I mean, we've all done it. We've all put on music and danced like that when we're putting our stuff away. But it's
relatable.
Yeah.
To me, he just, I didn't buy the character as a final guy or final girl, whatever you want to call them. The last
final
person,
girl.
I didn't buy him as one because I mean he just whined too much. I love Marshall Bell. Again? I absolutely love Marshall Bell. Yeah, I love Marshall Bell. Who the hell should I have in here? Clue Gallagher. I mean, good God, he was in Return of the Living Dead. I love him in this.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the Freddy with the red eyes, which I thought was kind of unsettling. You have the body, I have the brain. All of the stuff that he does, I'm okay with. I could not buy Jesse, the whole lead. I couldn't buy it, and yeah, that's down on the list for me. I mean, Jesse and his girlfriend, they have zero chemistry. I'm not buying that.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, neither were we.
All right.
I mean, I actually kind of dig this one. It's not like super high on my list. It's kind of like in the middle, sort of. But I would say it's almost like the perfect sequel in a way, because it tries to change some things and make some new rules. Almost like they were planning on trying to make more after this.
Yep.
And a lot of sequels don't do that. Like Halloween 2 doesn't do that. Friday the 13th Part 2 doesn't do that either. None of these other ones that went on, the Part 2 did not actually set up for more of them. But Nightmare on Elm Street 2, we knew there was a 3 coming after that.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I said, I actually like it. I thought it was a bit of a different twist to do a final boy rather than a final girl. I still don't see that happening too often nowadays. It's still just a whole bunch of chicks sitting around yelling and screaming.
Yeah.
So I think that's a pretty good twist for this one. Pretty much everything else has been said that can be said about it, though. So,
there's more. There's always more to be said.
I was gonna say I do like the end where they were going to the warehouse boiler room where the dogs were there, where you couldn't tell if it was dream or real, because I mean, because
they like blurred the lines.
Oh my! They blurred the lines too much for me. The dogs made no sense. I'm like, why the heck are these dogs here? And then they do nothing with the dogs. They're completely throwaway. I'm like, why even put them there then? It didn't add a great atmosphere to me. I'm just like, oh, this is goofy. And then changing the rules, completely changing Freddy. He's jumping out at a pool party. It makes no sense. Everything is so blurred in here. You're like, what are the rules? We don't understand them. What's happening with Freddy? And even the director did not understand the rules. He even said, he's like, I didn't know Freddy had rules. I was just going for whatever, when you listen to his interviews. I'm like, isn't that something you should know before you direct the movie? Like, is it something crucial to know about the character? Yeah. So this movie just doesn't work for me at all. And that's why the original should have been even more clearer, because then people making sequels still don't know what's going on. So exposition would have helped in the original. It would have helped in the sequel. This movie is just the one I'm always like, oh, I have to watch this franchise, and now I have to watch the second one. There's just nothing I really love about this one, except for the intro scene with the bus. Amazing. The outro scene with the bus is fantastic. Those are the best parts of the movie.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was really awesome. But everything else in between just too weird, doesn't make enough sense. It's just, this is not the one for me.
I did like Robert.
You didn't like Jesse going into the bar and drinking a beer out of a shot glass?
I'm like, what's happening in this movie? I don't know what's happening. Where's this movie going? All right, and then let's get into A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. All right, Fish, you want to start on this one?
Sure. This one I was very pumped for whenever it came out. I was a little older, so I was probably 10, right around 10. So this is the first one I saw in the theater. So back in the 80s, I guess they really didn't care, because my grandpa took me to the theater, bought my ticket. I went inside by myself, watched the movie, came out, went home. So yeah, I watched this by myself. I love this because I had enjoyed the first two so much. And in the trailer, we saw that Nancy was back. So I was even more pumped because, like I said, she's my favorite final girl. I was so excited to see her back. They took it to the next level with effects in this one. It's fantastic. the dream sequences are amazing. The cast is wonderful. Just a great young cast. I really enjoyed this one a lot. So yeah, I'm quite positive on this one. Really enjoyed this one.
All right, Huck, did this one rebound for you after the second?
Oh man, 100%. I'm with Fish on this. This thing felt so much fun. I mean, I'm telling you, after two, I was like, oh man, I hope they get better. And this one just the fact that look, it's called Dream Warriors, right? Because these kids now we're actually bringing in the powers. The kids kind of have superpowers. The one kid's strong, the other one they all have a little something that they bring to the table. All four kids. So you got you got that in them, and I loved the practical effects. So Chuck Russell's the director now on this one. I love that Nancy comes back. I love her dad, man. A little shout out to John Saxon. I love John Saxon. And to see him come back, Oh, that's the other thing I want to say, guys, is in this series, I abhor how dumbass most adults are. Like the parents are just imbeciles in like almost all these movies.
They're just so blasé to everything.
Dude, they're awful. They're horrible. It's so and we're gonna get to another one where they're even worse. But sometimes it just they're so stereotypically bad. But John Saxon and her mom, I think, are written like real parents. Like Fish, you're saying when the mom took her down and showed in the first movie how they killed. I mean, like she's real. Like that mom is real. So you get some real parents and then some real like caricature crazy people. But yeah, I enjoyed this one. This brought me back up and got me ready to keep plowing through the rest of them.
All right,
and Patricia Arquette.
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
She's amazing.
Larry, not even Lawrence. Larry.
So
Larry
like
Fishburne.
you, Mike, I watched all the making ofs after all these were over, so I could get even more about each movie. And that big old Freddy head that comes and eats her, like because they had no money, they couldn't do that. They did it in reverse. They stuffed her all the way in, and then it pulled her out, and then it looked like it ate her. And I'm like, see, I love that sort of like when you're under pressure and have no money, how do you get it done? And I just love they got it done.
Yeah, I was gonna say about Buck was talking about the parents. The mom in the first one, after she explains everything that came about and how Freddy, came to, you can understand why she's hiding bottles all over the house and she's drinking and she's an alcoholic. You understand the trauma that she's, that she went through. Trying to drown it. So, yeah. So. Cool. Anyway, sorry.
No, it's good.
All right, Johnny, how do you feel on this one?
Okay, Dream Warriors was the very first Nightmare movie I ever saw. I didn't get a chance to go watch it in theaters, so I had to wait for it to come out on video. And this one made me a fan of the series because, like Fish and Huck, this was the MTV Freddy Krueger, because I remember when this came out. I mean, that's when MTV was exploding, and you saw Freddy everywhere. Lawrence Fishburne in this. I love the kids in this, especially Kincaid. And when he says, "Have a nice stroll, asshole," I laughed the last time when I saw this the other day. When he said, "Oh, just have a nice stroll," I just laughed. I stopped the movie and started laughing uncontrollably.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. The effects were great in it, especially the one where Freddy's eating her. And then I remember watching a behind the scenes of it where they had to redress it because it looked phallic in nature. So it had more stuff to it. I do have one complaint though. Where did the teardrop on Joey's tattoo? Where did that tattoo go? If you see it once, you don't see it again.
Yeah.
Because it was a rub on.
I wonder. I was just gonna say. I wonder if he drew that on or something.
I think he did.
Warriors.
I think that's what that was.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think it was like a prison thing. I think it was more of like a tear, like an actual tear, like sadness, sorrow. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was like his emo way of like expressing that.
Right. Yeah. So.
All right, Ben. How do you
he
feel?
Couldn't talk, so I'm going to express my way this way.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Yeah, so this one, I feel like I had all these, like I said, on VHS. So I think I did see them in numerical order originally. So this one for me is when basically the series got on steroids. This is when the creativity just started exploding, and this is when I got freaking obsessed with Freddy Krueger in this entire series. Just I mean, even at the beginning, when they're playing the songs and she's making that paper mache thing of the house and stuff like that. I had my mom and me and her did that when I was a kid, and I was just so freaking excited. I was just like, this movie is just so amazing. The creativity is just so great. The kids are great. All their little powers are great. They have the one that's a drug addict. They have the other one that can't walk. I mean, there's just and all of them have their own little stories. Once they start going through, they have their own little powers. The creativity, like I said, is just man. It's exciting to watch. It's so exciting for me. It's just ramped up. There's so much going on, working together and being able to do like the dreams therapy sessions together and stuff. That's so interesting to be able to do that. I thought that was really cool how they introduced that in there. Oh, I love the shout outs too to also other movies like Critters. She's when she's watching TV in the room, she's watching the movie Critters from 1986, the year before that. And I just love that also because I'm such a horror fan when they shout out other movies and movies that I love itself. So there's just this movie is just incredible to me. I love everything about it. I know there's more for me to say, but I can't think of anything else right now. I apologize.
All right, Jeff,
Good.
what do you
So
think of this one?
passionate. I love it.
Love it. I love it. Love it.
I mean, this is one of my favorites in the series. I mean, how often do the good guys get the powers to actually like fight against the evil guy? Like that doesn't happen very often.
Yep.
Like as a kid watching this, I'm like, hell yeah, I can fight Freddy. Like, and this is where, in my opinion, Robert Englund really started to figure out who Freddy was. This is when all the rules started to make sense, and he knew who the character was going to be. This is where we started getting those really good one-liners, those quippy ones, but it didn't go too over the top with the comedy, and it still stayed really horror. This is, like I said, this should have been number 2 in my opinion. And then we got Patricia Arquette. I mean, she's like just like the golden child.
Yeah.
I in some ways I like her better than I like Nancy, but I know that that's probably bad, but I really dug her character in this and the way that she portrays it.
Yeah.
I don't think that's bad.
That was good.
She was really good.
I think she's fantastic. I think she's a lot of
so many
people's
people put Nancy on this pedestal. If you're like, nah, I might like somebody a little bit better. Some people kind of look at you sideways.
Yeah, but Jeff, that's a great point. Yeah, that's a great point.
Well,
Because
how about,
there's so many great characters, so you can choose your favorite, right?
yeah. And speaking of that, Jeff, the sad point is this is where we also lose Nancy and her dad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is in this film, so they bring him back, and then they become the victims rather than the final girl again. So that catches you off guard. You don't really think they're going to do that. She's kind of the comeback star, right?
Yeah.
And then they do
Right.
that.
That's the bait and switch that Wes Craven started doing in the 80s. Like this was probably the first one where he started being like, we can bait and switch. And then he did it again with Scream with Drew Barrymore. He's good like that.
Yeah.
He's good like that.
Yeah. Marketing, man.
Right.
He has a little bit of Charles Band in him.
Because he did have writing credits, and he did help do production on this one.
Mm-hmm.
So Wes Craven did have his toes
I
dipped
think
in
he
this
helped
one.
write it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, the script here is amazing. It's probably one of the most well written out of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Everything makes sense here. All the characters are great, so you can choose your favorite. They all have different unique personalities. And once again, the most superhero-like out of all of the Nightmare movies. You get to see cool superpowers, and it fits with stories they tell each other in like groups. So you're like, okay, everything really connects here. I get what's going on. The dream world's fantastic. Freddy is great in this one. He's scary, but he still has those funny, dark moments, but it's never goofy. Like, I think this is like the least goofy out of like the original Freddy kind of movie. So there's just something, he just hits it right. Just everything spot on. And so many great lines. I mean, welcome to prime time. You can't do better.
Oh my God, that TV was so good.
And he improvised that. He improvised that line.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Yep.
Okay. So,
Well, and
so
how
I
about
really
that
like this one.
How about the intro shot where he's marionetting that guy to his
Oh, yeah.
yeah. And like you just see him over the building. I'm like, oh God, that was
When he cuts his tendons up.
So cool.
yeah, so good.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So creative. So awesome.
Welcome to prime time. That was so good.
All right, so now we are
Where's
on
the
to
bourbon?
Yeah. You always do this when I bring a man over. Your damn
so
mom.
Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master. All right, Vin, you want to start with this one?
So this one, my biggest complaint is that I wish that they would have brought what's her name, Patricia, back to do this one again.
Yeah.
So that was extremely let down. Even though I really do like this girl, and as long as you kind of but she's obviously would have been way better to keep that character going, obviously. But I still really love this movie. The songs that are in this movie are so freaking. I know the words to every single song that's in this movie. I don't know if these songs were made for this Nightmare on Elm Street 4, or if they were actual songs, but I learned every single word to all these songs on this movie. It's a really fun. I love the little girl at the beginning drawing the Freddy house and everything. It's like, where's Freddy at? He's not home yet. Everything. So it's really neat. I love that the Kincaid's still in there, but she bringing him. Now she's bringing him back into the thing. She's kind of revamping everything up. So it's I actually really like this one as a series. Another one that I had on VHS, used to watch it all the time. It's probably it actually is probably up there for me. I'm trying to think of some specific scenes right now. This is one of the ones that I actually didn't get to rewatch during this little thing right now. But yeah, I'm gonna if I have something to piggyback on somebody else's, but I do enjoy this one for the more part. My biggest thing is the fact that she just wasn't in this one. I thought that was a huge miss, but they probably couldn't afford her.
All right, Jeff, how do you feel on this one?
Honestly, I'm just gonna echo Vin for the most part. I think there's some really good kills in this, but I spent pretty much the whole 86-minute runtime or 93-minute runtime of this movie thinking, where's Patricia Arquette? This girl is not playing this character nearly as much. To me, it threw it all off because they got the other guy to come back to play the character, and the whole time, like I spent the whole 90 minutes being like, this isn't her. And then I love this music. Like the soundtrack, this is probably the best soundtrack in the series. It raises it higher on my list because of the music in this. But it's lower. It's like on the lower half of my list because of the fact that they recasted the main character. And rather than recast the main character, just set up new characters. They didn't have a problem doing that before. You know, like they brought Nancy back, and they killed her off and everything. But everyone up to 4 already had new characters. We didn't need to. If you couldn't bring the actress back, make it a new character was what I thought.
I agree.
The soundtrack, banging. Love the soundtrack.
Oh,
cool.
All right, Fish, how'd you like this one?
This one is higher up on my list as well. I really enjoyed this one. I watched it over and over and over again. I agree, Patricia Arquette would have been fantastic, but I did like the girl that they brought in did their job. Now, Lisa Wilcox, when she took over the lead, Alice, fantastic. I love Lisa Wilcox. She's wonderful. Great kills in this. They brought back Joey and Kincaid, the actual two, Joey and Kincaid, and I was a little let down in Kincaid's offing, but Joey's was wonderful. The how's this for a wet dream is fantastic. It's great. Later on in the movie, turning oh my God, what's her name? I know her real name, but I can't remember. Brooke Thies, the bodybuilder, wants to work out. Turned her into a cockroach and squished her in a roach motel. Man, the kill scenes in this were fantastic. The dream sequence where she's looping over and over again. It's so good. The scene where she goes into just everything about this movie is wonderful. I really enjoyed it.
So this is the one where she keeps going into the truck, right? She keeps running out.
Okay.
That was very unique. That was very unique.
And once again, soundtrack's wonderful. When she's working out, that song that she's listening to is Sinead O'Connor. I did not know that until I was older and oh my God, I love that song. That song is one of my favorites. And great soundtrack. A lot of these had a great end credit songs. So I really enjoyed this one a lot.
Huck, did you enjoy this one?
Oh, absolutely. To me, 3 and 4, it's like Star Trek 2 and 3. Like they're back to back. Like they feel organically made for each other. Like they sort of wrote them at the same time because obviously the characters come back, like Kincaid and all those. And you know, Rennie Harlin is our director. So we had Chuck Russell the last time. Now we have Die Hard 2 director Rennie Harlin expressing himself visually. Fish, you hit on all the things. The girl is the cockroach. The waterbed, you know, being trapped in the waterbed, just and just all the sort of, you know, what you call it, we'll just call them vaginal imageries that they seem to be obsessed with in these movies, where people are going through these tunnels that look like that, and they talked about that in the making of stuff, which is kind of funny. But yeah, Arquette being replaced, I think, is also, just to mirror you guys, is a little bit of the downside for this film. But I think the practical effects were super cool. The souls coming out of his body, you know, when he tears the thing out, he's got all the souls, and the souls are grabbing the pipes, and I'm like, oh my god, like that's like high tier effects for no money. It's just like how they pulled that off is crazy. The pizza face where he stabs the dude's head and it's a meatball. And he's like, I was just like, oh my god, that's so gross. But it was so good.
Soul food, yeah.
So, watching the behind the scenes in this one.
Yeah, and he's got the one line is like, how sweet, fresh meat.
Me.
Like, yeah,
I
this is
still
so
say
good.
that. I say that all the time.
Yeah.
And we've got
And when they're in the school, when
Yeah,
she's
I
in
know, right?
class.
And Freddy's got his sunglasses on, so Freddy's kind of like taking like a hip, like this is now with the sunglasses on. Okay, now Freddy's just simply an icon that that exceeds the humans you want to survive is irrelevant. Now you love Freddy. This is what's happened now. So now you just love the villain. And I think 2 and 3 just established that well. And who is the band in 3? Oh, Dokken, right? So you got Dokken songs in 3.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, songs became more prevalent in 3 and 4. So I feel like Dream Warriors, Dream Master are a really good 1-2 punch. I liked it quite a bit.
How about you, Johnny?
Well, I mean, everybody has said everything that I was going to say. I mean, yeah, Patricia Arquette, you can tell that she's missed here. The Roach Motel scene, or just watching her bend her arms back and the bones shoot out, which is
that's so gross.
You got their power, but I've got their souls.
Yeah.
I mean, I did have a complaint with this. I mean, I didn't buy Alice completely, you know, Kristen giving her power. I'm like, really? Are we going to do that now? But yeah, everything else. I mean, this is where Freddy became a pop culture phenomenon. It was right as soon as this hit, and then you had, you know, the Friday the 13th movies. But yeah, to talk about the soundtrack, if there was one song I wish that they actually let be on the soundtrack, was the Will Smith, the DJ Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince song, Nightmare on My Street. I know they got in trouble for that.
Yeah.
When he made that song, but yeah, I mean, everything in here was really great. The Crave Inn, I think where Alice works, you know, that's a reference to Wes Craven.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very funny.
And at least to me, Kincaid's dog, Jason, I mean, come on, that has to be a reference to Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
Because, you know, those two were going at it during the 80s. But, yeah, I mean, everything else I thought it was really great. You know, the pizza scene, want to suck face.
Yeah.
Yeah. Overall, I did like this one. A few issues, though. I don't like them bringing back the survivors of number 3 just to off them at the beginning. Even though some of the kills were cool, it's just like, oh, man. I loved how there was multiple survivors in number 3, and now it's just like, oh, sorry, they're all gone at the beginning of 4. I just hate when movies do that. But overall, like you guys said, the kills are great here. Very gross. I think these are probably the most gross and disturbing kills out of any of the Nightmare movies.
Yeah.
Like, isn't this the one where the person like eats like herself to death, right? Like stuffs her face and type of
That's
thing.
fine.
No, that's the next
Or
one.
is that 5?
That's
I don't know. I
fine.
get these two
That's
mixed
the
up.
next
Is this
That's
the
the
one with
next
the
one,
karate brother? is the karate
Yes.
person in this?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
he's super cool. He's awesome. Like I thought, he's like, oh, he's ready to throw down with Freddy. Let's go. So that was a really cool moment. So I like this one overall, but you could tell Freddy was getting goofier in this one. You could tell he's like, oh, okay, this is going much more horror comedy. Where I think 3 like really nailed it with, okay, still a serious slasher. 4, you're like, okay, this is completely horror comedy now. So, but I like it overall.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to watch the behind the scenes on how they did everything is wonderful. I watched that I don't know how many times when it was on whatever HBO or Cinemax or whatever. But yeah, that full like a huge full body Freddy with the latex where people were pushing through with that scene at the end where the bodies or the souls were trying to get escape. Fantastic. So good.
Yep.
Check that out.
All right, we're on to Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. All right, Jeff, how do you feel about this one?
This is one of my least favorite ones. I don't really like it. I think it was a really good idea that they just did not execute correctly. There were some decent kills in it from what I can remember. But to be honest, it just didn't, the pacing just wasn't really there for me on this one. And I don't know. I don't think I really liked the Alice character, but I might be one of the few people that didn't. She just kind of annoyed me. Like I was waiting for her to die. And I don't usually do that with the final girl. But like I said, this is not one of my favorites by any means. I don't know. There's just something about it that I just didn't like, and I can't really pinpoint it. It's
All right.
There's another one that's worse in my opinion, but I just don't really know why they made this one. Like they were just like, we're gonna make a baby, we're gonna make Freddy be a baby, basically. Like, you know, like he was incarnating a baby. Like I said, it was a good idea. I don't think they executed it the right way. It didn't make a whole lot of sense. They were kind of grasping for straws at this one.
All right, Vin, how'd you feel on this one?
So for me, I kind of feel the opposite. I don't know if it's because of nostalgia or whatever, but I feel like this is actually a pretty cool follow-up to the last one. And it's actually with 3, 4, and 5. I feel like those are ones that I watch usually in sequence. Whenever I watch them, I feel like they mesh really well. Again, I don't know why they changed the actress again. So that's another thing that bothers me. But I like the concept, thinking that, okay, she's not having dreams now. It's her baby basically that's having dreams, that's just kind of suffering through all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty creative for doing that. Yes, it is kind of far stretched, but for some reason it worked for me. There are some of the kills in here, like I love watching them because they look creative, like the one you were talking about where she's feeding herself and stuff like that. But there were certain little things in there that looked, off to me, but like the scene where the refrigerator opens and you see everything like molding and everything. I love that kind of shit when they do that. And then also the one where he did turn to Super Freddy, that was kind of very silly. I could do without it, but I guess I accept it. But that to me is a kind of flaw. I feel like they could have did that a little bit better or did it in a different way. But overall, I really do enjoy this movie a lot.
All right, Fish.
Oh, I'm sorry. They also show the fact for the first time too, the fact that his mother was raped by 1,000 or 100 maniacs. So that's what's also kind of cool about this one. I feel like, oh no, actually in part 3 they mentioned it a little bit on.
Right, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they mentioned it.
They got more detail.
They full on show you. Yeah, show you, but yes, yeah.
Yeah.
That backstory dream sequence, but yeah, this one. Growing up. This one, like Ben said, 3, 4, and 5, like because characters continue on through these 3. I watched them, like you said, back to back, but this one was lower for me. In that 3 set, I did enjoy the kills. And some of this Dan's kill on the motorcycle, that was just crazy. That like peeling his skin off, and you just got skull attached to bike, and that was really cool. I really enjoyed that one.
When it gets like it's Healy's tendon, that looks like it hurts. When it comes back and hits him back to chest.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I said, that one was a great kill. But yeah, the comic strip aspect, and it was just, I don't know. Like I said, this one's lower on my list for me, but I did still enjoy it. I enjoyed them all for different reasons, but yeah, this one I'm not so hyped on anymore. After I watched it growing up, it's not up there for me anymore. But yeah, I still enjoy it.
All right, Huck, do you still enjoy this one?
Okay, so I'm kind of with Fish here. So on Dream Child, I think we definitely take a dip from like 3 and 4 were just so good in their blend of everything and the characters. I like when the characters kind of come back. It's almost like, because Freddy does have to off them. That is his thing. Whoever these surviving children, that's who he's going after. So he has to. Now you could just assume they're killed off screen if you don't bring them back, but I don't mind that. This, however, this is definitely the one where the parents are super stupid. Well, like the super stereotypes, because this is the one with the girl that eats too much, right? Like she's the supermodel that's super fat, and then the mother's like, "Darling, we don't do that." I'm like, "No, mom acts like that." Good Lord. So that was just driving me nuts a little bit.
Have to gnash my teeth for the paparazzi.
Like she was good though. Like I didn't mind her. I thought the kids were fun. But I didn't think like the fat face was nearly as cool as the cockroach girl from the previous movie. I mean, that just showed such like creativity and imagination. So yeah, I just felt this one was a little slower in pace, and the baby Freddy, I mean, it looked all right, but just the whole baby thing. Anytime you start bringing babies into stories like this, it gets a little iffy. Like, are you comfortable with that? Are you, does it just water down? Because the you know what I mean? Like there's a fear having an infant involved in a horror movie, even though it's Freddy that we're talking about. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like that takes away some of the just balls to the walls, kill a bunch of teenagers kind of thing, because you're bringing the child aspect into it. So yeah, for me, it takes a dip on this one.
Is it me, or is the kid who plays the child actor? Is it me, or is he creepier than Freddy in this thing?
It was creepy.
What else was he in? I know I've seen him in something.
Yes.
That kid is villain. He's the kid at the beginning of Jurassic Park. Yeah.
Oh,
right.
And he acts like he's gonna cut him open.
6-foot turkey.
Like a turkey.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. I forgot about that.
All right, Johnny, how do you feel about this one?
Not too good. Not too good. I mean, this was the first one that I went to see in theaters, and I'm like,
oh man,
really? This is what I waited to see in theaters? And to echo Vin, I mean, the damn Super Freddy. That, God, really? Do we have to do that? But I will say this: the Dan's death, him turning into the motorcycle, that was awesome. I really enjoyed that. And Greta being stuffed by Chef Freddy. I'm like, that's how my parents used to feed me when I was a kid. That little Jacob kid, that little shit, he really he was just so creepy.
Exactly.
I don't know if it was that cherub-like face of his, but he just made my skin crawl. And I just
the sunken, darkened eyes. Yeah.
But I will say this: Alice seems to be a more formidable foe to Freddy than like anybody else, because she will go after him one-on-one, hand-to-hand, and she beats his ass.
I do like Alice. I think she's a good character. I think Lisa Wilcox did a good job with her.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh man, number 5 here. I do mix this one up kind of with 4 though, because tones are similar, but this is just not like the good edition. Whereas 4 is really good. This one's like, oh, where are we going with this? The logic's even weirder here. Like you guys said with the baby dreams. Now he can get into the world through the baby dream. I'm like, okay, now this is just getting too odd for me. What's happening here? And it's a very kind of slow paced movie almost. I don't know. I always fall asleep during this one and then I have to finish it later. And it's like, I don't care about these characters anymore. Like, let's move on from this one. So, yeah, this one just doesn't set well with me. I don't like it. I don't like number 5 at all.
You know what? I wanted to ask you all about the motorcycle because I think that probably is the standout sequence of the thing.
I don't like that scene at all.
So he's morphed to the motorcycle, and is it just me or literally he's now speeding off like at hypersonic speed, and I believe he's coming to a semi truck or something because there's lights coming at him, and then they just cut away. And I was waiting for the most epic, because you remember in Mad Max Road Warrior when that guy goes and he just eats it on that grill. I was waiting for this to top that. I'm like, oh, this is going to be delicious. And then they just cut away, and I felt as cool as that transformation was, we got robbed on his death. And that's the only disappointment I have from that. Great scene otherwise.
They ran out of budget.
I was just going to say that.
A splatter fest.
I would actually be interested to listen to the commentary on that because it looks like they spent a lot of budget at the beginning part of that sequence, but then the ending to finish that out with, it's like they ran out of budget for that scene almost like. So that actually makes a lot of sense.
100% what it feels like.
Crazy. They could have saved some where the CGI, where you see his body falling where he's standing there. Could have saved some money on not having that in there. But
right. And give us the grill kill.
The kill scenes are not executed well at all.
I love it.
Grill kill, that's nice.
I love this.
And it's so weird. It's because 4 has really good executed kill scenes. Like they play those scenes perfectly. And in 5, you can see they have some decent ideas for the kill scenes, but they just don't pop like they should. It's just it's a watered down version of 4. Oh, and I don't like the nun scene with the inmate. I'm like, how do you not see her? She sticks out like a sore thumb. Come on, a nun. And she's all yelling at them, like, don't lock me. And they're like, oh, we don't hear you at all. It's like, how do they not spot her? And there's 2 of them there. Like, come on.
It shows what kind of workers they were, though. They were like pieces of shit that just didn't care about anything. They said 1, 2, I lost count. It's 100. Don't worry about it. Let's go. They didn't care about nothing, so they probably weren't paying attention at all.
And why is she down there anyway? Like, I don't.
I don't know.
That I don't know. There.
Yeah, by herself, no security.
That I don't have an explanation for. I'm sorry.
Anywhere. This makes no sense at all. Oh gosh. Yeah, that one hurt my brain. I'm like, no more logic. Brain cells are gone.
I feel you though. I feel you there.
All right, Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare.
Oh boy.
Oh, Vin, you look like you're ready for this one. I feel like you got to start it off.
So everybody knows it's the most hated one that there is and everything like that. And yes, I get the fact that there are parts in there that are extremely comical or whatever the fuck the word is. I'm sorry. But I don't know why. Again, it must be just something that I just grew up with this franchise that it just gets a pass for certain things for me. Because this is one that, yes, the tone is completely different, but I'll watch it and be so entertained laughing. This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. What the map says we're fucked. There's just so many quotable, hilarious things in this movie. And I also feel like the creativity was really on par, and I feel like there was some good characters. What was that one? The one kid with the big nose and he has the blonde hair going. He's been in a few other movies. What the hell was his name again?
Rick and Meyer.
He's like the stoner guy that his dad's rich.
What's his,
Brick and Meyer.
Right?
Oh, Brick and Meyer. Yeah.
Right.
Is it? Yeah.
Spencer.
Yes. It was
really. I know him from Road Trip and a few other things.
There it is, Road Trip. That's what I know. From.
Rat Race. Okay. Rat Race.
Yes, Rat Race. There you go. Yeah, it was really cool. I feel like they actually fit really good in there. I like the parts of it. The one girl that was abused by her dad, and the fact when he comes there and she starts beating him with the iron. There's so many things in there that are deep, but mixed with those extremely over the top comedical things. And then they also show that his daughter now he has a daughter, and they show the past, kind of where they used to live. And that part always kind of creeped me out. Her going down into the thing, seeing the different little blades on the wall and stuff, that creeped me out as a kid. So this movie has, yes, I agree, the tone is completely different. I feel like it does has that extreme comedy parts though, but it also does have some parts for me that are pretty creepy, I feel like. So I love that blend in this one, and this is the only one that I feel like does that over extreme stuff like that, but I really do enjoy it. I have a blast with this movie every time I watch it.
All right, Fish, how do you feel on this one?
This one, I growing up, I really enjoyed this one for all the things that Vin said, but like, I don't know, watching it now as an adult, it's come down on the list for me. But I do enjoy the kills. Some of the kills, like the video game kill, is a little too much.
Yeah.
But getting back to the Freddy and horror,
Yeah.
the kid with the Q-tip and the hearing aid, and that was just perfect for me.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah.
I love the fact you get little cameos from Tom and Roseanne in this.
Yeah, all right, I forgot.
I do enjoy the fact that it has a 3D sequence in there that came out of nowhere, but it was really cool because you got to put on your 3D glasses in the theater, and I have the set that has the DVD set that has that 3D sequence on there. It's But like I said, it did come down on the list for me after having rewatched everything this past week and a half. But once again, I still enjoy it for what it is. Alice Cooper having his cameo in here as Freddy's stepdad is also fantastic. When we found out that Alice is going to be in here, we're like, oh my god, it's going to be awesome. Alice Cooper's in a movie. So, but yeah, like I said, I still have fun with these,
All right,
even
Huck,
if they're lower on the list.
Huck, I feel you got things to say on this one.
All right, look, Vin, I love your enthusiasm for this movie. I do not echo that at all.
You're fine. That's a beauty of movies.
It's like, I love it. This is what I love about film. It's for all the reasons you guys are loving it. Literally, I'm like, what the F is Tom and Roseanne doing in this movie? And then they're gone. And I'm like, all right, did they just know somebody? I thought it was kind of cute, but it's like, it was kind of stupid at the same time. Alice Cooper, it was neat seeing him, but he's not a great actor, nor did he really lend any sort of cred to the movie other than a cool cameo. This is the one, though, guys, I feel like the kids are the worst. They are all the girl that's the tomboy. She's always pissed. Oh my god, guys, I'm always pissed. And like, so all of the kids, whatever their character was, they were 100% that for the entire film. There was no color in their personalities. They didn't ebb and flow and be funny and this and that. They were all what they were. And that just was really, after seeing so many good ones and all the, like, Patricia Arquette and even, Allison, I mean, they had such layers and levels that to see just such one-note kids was greatly disappointing for me. And then the death scene. So I get that you love it, Fish, and I see it for what it is as being cool, but it went on too long. Like, it was one of those great scenes that because they knew something cool was coming. And when they went to the death aspect of it, it made it really quiet. The quiet aspect makes it move slower. Now I get it. They can also hype up the drama, like in A Quiet Place or something, but you also have to have good editing, right? And as someone who comes from editing, you can have that great aspect, but just get to the moment a little bit quicker instead of just showing us, hey, look how cool it is. We're going to drag it out a little bit too long. So that's what I felt was happening.
You got a good point. You got a point.
That's what I felt was happening a little too much in this. I did like that they gave Rachel Talalay, I guess is her name, the one that's been sort of a producer on all the other films. This was her chance to kind of come in and do her thing. So, and the 3D scene you talked about, Fish, they're like, and you got to do a 3D scene. And she's like, why? What? So I feel like that's what the film felt like. It felt like they were throwing everything in and they just didn't quite know how to piece them all together. So for me, a worse bunch of kids, unfortunately. And terrible adults. Although I did love the Johnny Depp cameo. I love it. Like you said, is your brain on drugs? I'm like, hey, and that was great. I love that, but that doesn't save the movie for me.
Yeah.
All right, Johnny, how'd you feel on this one?
Oh, and the video game stuff was stupid. Okay, go ahead.
Johnny, you there?
You guys hear me? Oh,
Now I do.
yeah. I don't know what's happening with my Wi-Fi, but
You're entering
Alright,
the
go
dream
on.
world.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Somebody wake him up.
Hypnosil.
I had fun with this. I mean, I love the two cameos, Tom and Roseanne, plus Johnny Depp. Especially when Freddie hits him with a frying pan, just looks like eggs in a frying pan to me. But yeah, Carlos's death was like my favorite of the whole film, including Freddie actually dying. But I mean, it could have been better executed. I did not like the 3D because when I saw it in theaters, I didn't buy it. But overall, I mean, I had fun with it, especially when Tracy beat the hell out of her dad with a coffee pot. That was really good.
Yep.
And we finally see where the son of 100 maniacs comes from.
Yep.
I thought it was good. It's not an absolute favorite of mine, but it's definitely better than the other ones that are on here.
All right, Jeff.
Johnny, what was the Carlos death? I'm trying to remember. What was the? You said you liked the Carlos death.
Where he when he after Freddie gave him the hearing aid, and then Freddie pulls out the blackboard.
Oh,
that
part.
Extends the blackboard,
yeah.
And he keeps scraping his fingers across it.
Yeah.
And his head explodes.
See, that was cool. Just get to it a little quicker.
That was probably the only good death in the movie, in my opinion. But I don't really like this one that much. None of the cameos did anything.
Yeah, I didn't like.
I think it was just to sell it. It was crazy because when I watched this as a kid, I knew who Roseanne was because Roseanne was on TV, in her TV on her show. So I knew who Roseanne was, and I knew who Johnny Depp was. But now as an adult, I look back and I know who Brinken Meyer is, and wow, how that dude ever got a career past Freddy's Dead is beyond me. And I love his other movies. Like I really love Rat Race and
me too.
What was that other one we were talking about earlier? Like, I like his stuff he did in the 2000s, but how he ever got to get any other roles after Freddy's Dead is beyond me. And I should love this one because like one of the main characters' name is John Doe. And I don't even like that guy. Like he's like one of the worst characters in the whole series.
All right. You guys are tough on this one. I think I'm a little bit more favorable. I'll probably put this around the mid area. But for horror comedy, I think it nails it. It's a great time. It's entertaining. And I like a lot of the kills. I think the video game kills really fun. It's like, be like that, right? And then it's like power glove time. And all over the place, right? Oh, that's so entertaining to me. Yes, it looks ridiculous, but it's like once you get to this point, you buy into the horror comedy part of it. So I'm like, I'm okay. We're just having a fun time here now. So I really like that one. Also, I like the one with the parachute, right? He jumps out the plane or whatever. And then he rolls out the spike thing, and it's like, psh, and I like the twist there where it's like, oh no, you aren't the child. I'm like, oh wow, that's.
Do you think I'm your daddy?
Yep. I love that. And then you see the blood come through him, right? When he lands. Oh my gosh. So I think a lot of the kills are really fun in here. So I think this one's just good, entertaining fun. You can't take it seriously. It is what it is. But I like at the end too, where like, oh, she's throwing all the stuff at Freddy too, and then like explodes him and like Freddy's dead. And then it just ends. I love that. That's great. So have fun with this one.
Nose, head.
Well, I'm glad you did.
Are we going to talk about this is our first I guess the first time we're actually shown the Goo Goo Dolls? Because I think they did the song that's at the very beginning of the movie.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Interesting.
All right, Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Jeff, Do you like this one a little bit better than Freddy's Dead?
Oh yeah, yeah. I like this one quite a bit better than Freddy's Dead. The whole meta stuff really works for me. It makes you think about it. You got to watch this one more than once because there's just so many things you don't catch the first even 2 or 3 times you watch it. I think Wes Craven was really trying something different here, and it really works.
All right.
I mean, he ends up making a whole franchise after this one because of it, you know. And Robert Englund in this is like perfect because he plays himself and he plays Freddy, and he feels like 2 completely different people, and can be on the screen as Krueger and as himself 2 minutes apart from each other, and you wouldn't know it's the same guy. Like I think this is really this is probably one of the best roles Robert Englund himself ever had. He really did a good job at differentiating himself from the character while still being on screen and trying to be a character. So and the kills in this one, there's not a lot really, because it takes a really long time to kind of get to those kills, but they really pay off, I think. And I think Freddy looks the best he looks in the whole series here.
All right, Vin.
So this was the first one out of the series that I got to see in theaters, and I was 8 years old. So when I was 8 years old, I loved Freddy already so damn much by this time that I had a metaphorical boner going into this theater to watch this movie. So I was so freaking excited. You have no idea. I was at the edge of my seat, and I was extremely entertained. I remember my feelings of it when I was 8 years old watching this movie, and I was just confused because I didn't understand what was really going on. It was very not so basic like the other ones. It was more meta, and more advanced. And now as soon as I started getting older, it's just made me love that movie even more because it's just so revolutionary and different how he did this, and it's freaking brilliant. I feel like how he just did that aspect of reality versus what's on TV, and having her kid being involved in it, her husband's the guy that special effects works on it, and it's just, oh man, it's everything about it. I love her son Dylan too, even though I know some people say he's a kind of annoying in certain parts of it. I think he's such a cute little boy, man. And poor little guy's just suffering for been tormented by Freddy, and his cute little dinosaur and everything like that, man. I love everything about this movie, and it's a freaking masterpiece. Wes Craven did amazing. This might be one of my favorite movies by Wes Craven, to be honest.
All right, Fish, what do you think?
I really enjoyed this one too. Once again, not hardly any bad movies in this series for me, but I love the fact, once again, they were talking about meta being self-aware, being reality versus movie. I really enjoyed that aspect where of course Heather Langenkamp plays Nancy, and my favorite final girl, having her return in this again, highlight of the movie for me. The kills, they had a little throwback with the nanny and Tina. That was really good. I really love that, where they took a little homage to the original. I really enjoyed this one. Freddy looked. I like the grimier Freddy. I like the I don't know. It just seemed a little too clean, a little too polished for me in this one.
I did like his hand though.
Oh,
the bones.
Like how it's like more like a part of him. But you're right though. Right. His face I wasn't feeling too much, but his hand I really liked.
Right. So I totally get that as well. Really enjoyed the fact that it was reality and movie blended so well. And like I said, he took that idea and made another franchise off of it, and it worked so perfectly in that one as well. So kudos to Wes Craven. I enjoyed this one, having Wes and Bob Shaye and all the producers and directors and people coming back to play themselves in this. It just really grounded it in that reality. So.
They're in the freaking New Line Cinema place too. It's so awesome. It's just so cool. It's almost like you're watching a Freddy movie, but on the opposite side of it, seeing the behind the scenes, but also entwined in the movie. It's amazing.
And it also, to me, this one, it calls back to how much fun everyone had with the others. Because why would they come back to do this one?
Yep.
All
Because
right.
this is like a culmination of everything.
Yep.
Yeah, this is an interesting one for me because definitely after coming off of Freddy's Dead, I was starting to lose a little enthusiasm there. But this one was such an interesting take. I like the meta thing. I love seeing, like you guys just said, like John Saxon came back, but he's John Saxon. He's not
Right.
dad, but then he becomes dad, and you know, and even some of the other actors, the girl that took over for Patricia Arquette, she's in the funeral scene. Like I'm like, oh my god, is that like how?
Yeah.
And I had to pause it to see just how many
Right.
are just in that scene as a cameo, and that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Right.
So
No,
I-
absolutely. Yeah, there's a few of them in there.
And you don't really get that nowadays. You know, the fact that
Yeah.
Wes can reach out and say, "Can you guys look? I gave you a movie. Can you please come in and
Yep.
just stand in the scene? We need it." So I like that. And the kids very much, like you said, the poor kid gets all possessed and he starts doing that red rum. That like it's not like that. Like when you're a little kid, I guess that's the voice you make when you're possessed, right? So given that he had to do that, it was pretty good. You know, he really pulled it off. Now the thing about Freddy, I'm gonna go on a limb here and say, so about the makeup, Fish, I agree. The makeup looked too polished. It was sort of like even, everything was even, like
It's
the
like
eyes.
James Cameron got a hold of it or something.
Yeah, it's like it was the same on both
Damn
sides.
it, you
here.
beat me to it, Fish.
Yeah. But I also take this for what it is. I do not believe that was Freddie Robert Englund. The guy's face is bigger, his stature is bigger, and the makeup, because the makeup's designed different, it fits different on that person's face. And when you look at the credit sheet, which I'm looking at now, it says Robert Englund is Robert
Yeah,
Englund,
yeah.
and it does not say / Freddy Krueger. And in the credits of the movie, it says Freddy Krueger as himself. So I
Is
think they're
himself,
pulling off.
yeah.
I think they're pulling off a Darth Vader thing here, where you don't really know who is that.
Wow.
So I sort of like that. I like that it's not Robert Englund, because
Yeah.
it wouldn't be if you're being super meta about it, you know.
Right. No, absolutely.
So
All right.
this is one I feel
Never
like
noticed
if I
that,
watch,
brother. That's awesome.
yeah, right. Like I feel like this is one if I
Yeah.
watch it again, I'll like it even more. I think this is middle for me,
Mhm.
but it was certainly fun to watch.
All right, Johnny, how'd you feel?
Given what we were given the last time with Freddy's Dead, this was just a vast improvement. Yeah, I'm just echoing what everybody else has said. Yes, the Freddy Krueger looked like something that Jim Cameron had gotten a hold of, and it just didn't look like Freddy. But yet, I do love the glove. The glove is amazing. You know, where it's an extension of his hand. I did not like Mike O'Hughes. He's annoying. I found him annoying in Pet Sematary. I found him annoying in Kindergarten Cop. I hate that little shit.
Hey, what is it with that
But,
kid
yeah.
running out in front of traffic?
I don't know. When I was in watching this, I was hoping, a car would have hit him. But
Movie's over.
I mean, yeah. I don't know about, those of you who actually went to see this, but did people actually jump in their seats when Freddy pops out of the closet and says, "You miss me"? Because it happened when I went to see it.
I don't remember. That part I don't remember.
All right.
But
Here goes
Just
Mike.
across
yeah,
the freeway.
I enjoyed this.
I'm hearing knuckles crunching.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I do not like this one at all. I really
Here we
wanted to
go.
put it at the bottom. I'm
Well-
like, this movie puts me to sleep every freaking time I watch it. It moves at a snail's pace. You don't get much Freddy in the movie at all until the very end, so there's not a lot of kills. I'm like, what the heck? I thought I'm watching a slasher movie. I hate the meta stuff. It breaks all the rules. It hurts the rest of the franchise because I'm like, okay, well, the other movies didn't really exist because apparently it's all fake. So this movie makes me very angry. I think the acting is terrible in it. Like Wes Craven's in here acting, right?
Yeah.
He should not be acting in here. He's a great director. But acting wise, it was not hitting for me. I'm just like, okay. And then Robert Englund acting as Robert Englund, that didn't work for me either. It was just, this was just a complete miss for me. It felt more like The Omen, with like the kid being possessed and like doing weird stuff. I'm like, what the heck am I watching here? I thought I'm watching a Nightmare on Elm Street movie, and this is not that.
No,
So,
we're watching a movie that's separate from the Nightmare on Elm Street.
You're watching a new nightmare.
yeah, well, it gave me a new headache.
Yeah.
Okay? It gave me a new headache. That's what happened.
See what you did there.
So I just, oh gosh, yeah, this movie makes me mad and tired all at the same time.
A new headache.
You know, it's
All right,
funny because
now, before we go to the next one,
yeah.
go ahead and finish up. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, buddy. Yeah, I was just gonna say I looked on IMDb, and different from the credits on the movie, they're saying Robert Englund was Freddy Krueger, but when watching that film, he was billed as himself, and I personally didn't feel like it was him. So I still think there's.
I can believe that.
someone
Yeah,
that's
I can believe that. He does look a little bit different, so I can definitely stand behind that. Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right,
he looks a
let's-
little bit
Let's move past
bigger.
this nightmare. Moving
Yeah.
on with my life now. Thank goodness. All right, Freddy vs. Jason. Huck, I know you really like this one, so let's hear it.
It's freaking awesome. Done. No, look, man, this movie is so damn good. After getting through all that and even like the new Nightmare, again, it was okay. Like it hadn't really clicked in me. I'm like, man, I think I'm tapped out on this franchise. I'm like, but I got two more left, and that's the remake and Freddy vs. Jason. And I remember liking it. Let's put it in, and hopefully it wows me. And guys, let me tell you, this is the one. The studio gave them a budget. It allowed them to do some of the most spectacular kills. You've got literally Jason there snapping that dude in half backwards in the bed at the beginning. I'm like, now we're talking. I'm like, yes. Now we're getting some deaths that matter, that are impressive, that blow you away. And the fact that Freddy is being forgotten, y'all. I love the concept. In fact, the little bit that they take the time to tell you the backstory of each character in case you've never seen anything.
Yes, exposition. I love it.
Was
Thank goodness.
perfectly
Yeah.
done. It was just enough to tell you about Freddy. It was just enough to tell you about Jason. And I'm like, wow, I could not have seen anything. And this movie is self-contained. And then Freddy is forgotten. And that's why he's powerless. I love that. I love that people have forgot him and let him go. I thought the script was perfect. And so he brings this killing machine, Jason, back to scare people so that he'll matter again. Only Jason's the one they're thinking of, and he's pissed. So he wants to like then control Jason so that he can get back in the center seat. And dude, it's like just the scene where the kid's got the drugs behind his back, and he's like, "I got come to Papa," or whatever he tells him. Ben, you probably know. And then and he stabs him in the neck, and then he cuts him in half. I'm like, yeah, it was just like 1, 2, go.
Yeah.
And then like Jason grabs Freddy and he drags him through all the windows, and the windows are just breaking one after another. I'm like, wow, you don't get this in any of the other Freddy movies. So it is fresh. I think they got a Japanese director for this one, right? Because he had a different perspective, and he's like, they just sort of sensibly shoot things different, which I love, which is don't do rapid cuts. If you've got a cool stunt or you got a cool scene, show that stunt, show that scene, because if it looks great, people are going to love it. And for me, I loved everything about this. I love the relationship between the two of them. And man, I cannot tell you, every time I see Freddy pop out of that water and go 50 feet in the air, and he's got his arms up like this,
Yeah, that's much
I
better.
love that shot. I think it's one of the most fantastic shots, putting Freddy in that. And then, I mean, oh my God, I freaking love this movie.
Good call, Huck. That's probably my favorite part out of that movie. That is beautiful. Good call, Huck. That's a good one.
Right? Thanks, man.
Yeah. I'm right there with you, Huck. This movie is amazing. It's the best verse movie that's ever been done. It's like a WWE match between our two favorite monster slasher characters. I mean,
So
it just
good.
works so perfectly. And you touched on the director right there. Just it's so well filmed and everything flows. The story makes complete sense from beginning to end. So many iconic moments. Just when they're fighting in the dream sequence is really cool. It's like, why won't you die? And then they come up with something logical, like do the water because he's afraid of water. I'm like, okay, all of this makes sense how it's written. I like the characters in here. A lot of them are likable, so you're rooting for some of the characters. Jason is just going ham on everybody in this movie. But Robert Englund has the dialogue, right? He's like, you'll get the blood, but I'll get the glory. So it even makes sense in that way where Jason is getting all the kills. So I will say the one drawback, even though it makes sense for the story, is you don't get really any Freddy kills in here except for one, pretty much. Only one dream sequence kill with that guy in the bathtub type of thing. But that's it. You don't get a lot of Freddy kills. I would have liked maybe a couple more in here. You can give a ton of Jason kills, but give me like at least like 3 Freddy kills. I think I would have been happy with. But other than that, just really nitpick thing. Oh, this movie is so freaking entertaining. The soundtrack is great. I mean, just and they like mix music together too. Like right when it intros, like you'll have a little of the Nightmare jingle and then the Friday the 13th jingle, and it's like intertwined.
Yeah, it's neat.
This is so freaking cool. Oh, this movie is great. I love this one. All right, Vin, you like it too, I'm guessing.
So I do, but this is a funny one. This one is lower on my list, and the reason is because I remember hearing of talks of this movie when I was in kindergarten. There was this kid, I remember his name was like Gabriel something, and me and him were the weird kids in kindergarten that would sit there and talk about horror movies. And I remember he was telling me that there was a Freddy versus Jason coming out in kindergarten. Okay, so that was a very long time ago for me. So I've been hearing about it every so many years throughout my entire life. And then finally, when it came out, I went and seen it and everything. And there's parts of it that I really, really like, and then there's parts of it that I really don't like. For one, a small little thing, I don't know, for some reason, metal in music works, or metal in horror movies work for me sometimes, and sometimes they do not. At the beginning entrance scene where the blood's going, that metal music just it's so unfitting for me that it drives me fucking insane. So I hate that part right there. And then I feel like there's barely, like how you were saying, Mike, with the Freddy kills, Freddy doesn't really do much, but Jason thrives in this movie. And I really like it as part of the Friday the 13th series more than I like it as part of the Nightmare on Elm Street series. So that's actually, when I sent you my list, I forgot to even put this one on here because I almost don't even really consider it part of the series in its own weird way. But I do like it a lot. It was exciting to see both of the characters. I love how they did with the story. I'm sorry, Huck, but when I see them going back and forth like they're in a DC movie, it kind of also annoys me too. Like I'm just like, ugh, like it looks like a comic book movie now, not a horror movie. So it kind of seems silly to me. So again, this one I still like a lot and I still watch all the time, but it is lower on my list.
All right, Fish, how do you feel on this one?
This one, after a rewatch, kind of moved up a little bit on my list. Before I started rewatching these, I went ahead and made it from memory. I was like, this is what I feel, how I feel about these movies. Let's go back and rewatch them and see if any of this moves around or changes. And they did. Like the middle moved around. Like the bottom was pretty much the bottom. This one did move up a little bit, not too much, but it's still the middle bottom of my list. But when Jason Goes to Hell, you got the mask and then you get the hand pulling the mask down. 93. We had to wait 10 years for this to happen. And I was so hyped whenever it did come out because we had to wait 10 years. They gave us that little, teaser at the end of Jason Goes to Hell. And then I'm just assuming rights issues. I'm an adult now. I understand all that stuff, rights and this and that and studios and stuff. So I get all that. So I understand why it took so long. But when we got it, it was a spectacle to behold because, you've got two of your favorite slashers going head to head. And like Vin, it did. I did not like the fact that Freddy was more of a side character in this than as opposed to a nemesis or, kind of an equal. And yeah, I still had fun with it. Like I said, it moved up a little bit on my list. The kills were great. Like Huck said, the folding in half, the running through the cornfield. Jason's on fire and just making a pathway through.
So cool.
That was so cool looking. Yeah. So I did have fun with this one. Yeah. So yeah. Overall, yeah, pretty decent. Yeah, it moved up on my list. But yeah.
All right, Jeff, how do you feel?
So I really like this one, but it took a little bit of work for me to like it. I just remember being in like kindergarten and we were talking about, hey, Freddy versus Jason, except back then we called it Jason versus Freddy. It was Jason versus Freddy all the way up until they showed a trailer for it, if I remember. Because for the longest time, I still called it Jason versus Freddy. I kind of still plug this into the Friday the 13th series more than the Nightmare on Elm Street series. But it's respectable enough that it fits in either or. And I don't judge anybody based on where you put it. I waited a really long time for this, and I went with some friends to see it. And we watched it, and we got out of the theater, and my buddy was like, man, that was awesome. I loved it. It was everything I wanted it to be. How'd you feel about it? And I was like, man, I don't know. I'm a little let down. He turned me around. We went right back to the ticket box office, bought tickets, and we watched it again.
I love it.
Now, it took
That's
two
awesome.
watches, and then I'm like, you know what? Hell yeah, this is pretty much everything I wanted it to be. It's just some of the cast choices then kind of made me question it at first. Like, why do we have a Destiny's Child in here? Though she gets a really good kill. She gets killed really awesome in it.
Oh yeah.
But that was them trying to like pull pop icons into horror movies in the early thousands, and that kind of stuff pissed me off then as a teenager. Teenager rebellion and all that. So, but this has got like some of the best kills in either franchise. The one thing that did kind of upset me was that they made Jason afraid of water when he spends 80% of his life in the water.
Well, I don't know. It doesn't seem like he loves the water, though. It's not like he's like swimming like freestyle. Like
but he spent so much time in it. Why would he be scared of it? But I also look at it as this is a standalone movie where none of the series of either series have ever existed. And 100%. That little bit we get at the beginning is everything for these characters in this universe.
Yeah.
So this is just a standalone movie where, we know everything we know about Jason, but those things might not all apply to this Jason. Same with this Freddy. Like, it's still Robert Englund and it's still the Freddy that we might know, but all the rules may not apply because we're not really told that they're the same characters they were in those universes either. So I really like that they have that freedom to kind of play around with, and they do.
All right, Johnny.
Okay. To echo pretty much everybody else, this was a fight that we have been waiting, at least I've been waiting 15 years for. Freddy versus, who's better? I was always on Team Jason. I still am Team Jason. And this film actually delivered upon the promises. I have 2 issues with it. A third one, really. Now, you're talking about, they added in Kelly Rowland from Destiny's Child, yet no one talks about the line she said. I don't think anybody should talk about that line. Yeah. You guys know. 2, the ending, the ambiguous ending, whether or not, who really won the fight.
Yeah.
And the third one is, the line that they had in the trailer was never said in the film. Those are my biggest gripes with the movie itself. But other than that,
which line?
The
John?
kills were great. Play Freddy versus Jason. Place your bets.
Oh yeah, I know. That's a bummer. They should have left it in.
Yeah, that one should have been left in for the film. But other than, I had a blast with this. That was the first one I took my wife to go watch. We hadn't been married yet, and she's like, "Why are you watching this?" I'm like, "Hold your tongue, woman. I've been waiting for 15 years for this."
That's awesome.
And, the kill scenes were great. And one more thing that I did not like. They didn't get Kane Hodder back. Kane Hodder to me is Jason Voorhees.
Yes.
And it's Kane Hodder versus Robert Englund. Finally, just facing off against each other. But
he was
fucked up over that too, man.
This is probably the best way that they could have done it, though, and not disrespect either character, because both characters get due respects in this movie. It's not like Alien versus Predator where one's a bitch,
No.
Yeah. Yeah, and I wanted to chime in one more thing. So, like 3-4 movies back, remember when Freddy's like, "How sweet, fresh meat," and in this one we get, "How sweet, dark meat."
Yeah.
They were wrong. And dude, I lost it because that's like a callback from 4 movies ago, which I thought
Yeah.
showed Freddy's personality.
Yep.
And the fact that they switch weapons at the end was brilliant because it cuts the hand off. So he uses Freddy's
Yeah.
arm, but he takes the machete.
Yeah.
And
Right.
the wink. I mean, I just thought it had like the whole kid and caboodle. And for me, Fish, I actually didn't feel like Freddy was a side character because he was the puppet for the entire movie.
Yeah,
would-
yes, no,
would make-
absolutely. But you,
I mean,
but you kind of see what I'm saying, though. It's like,
Yeah. For the
like I said,
kills, yeah, for the
Right,
kills.
right. right.
You know, it's
But
it's,
yes.
it's funny because everybody hates
yes.
on Freddy's Dead because of how corny it is. But then with this one, you know, he's grabbing his arm and he's killing him with his arm, and then things are going and they're flying on CO2 cans and stuff. It's like, but nobody says that that's silly, you know. But everybody says that Freddy's Dead is silly. It's funny.
Because those were badass. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
All right, we still got one more to go, and I'm gonna start on this one because I freaking love this movie. Nightmare on Elm Street 2010. This is the second Freddy movie I saw in theaters. First was Freddy vs. Jason. Then I saw this remake, and I freaking was so entertained by this one. To me, it gets everything right. It's very serious, more serious than the original. And to me, it makes more logical sense. They give exposition. They explain, okay, what happened? All right, the parents went after him and they show the parents, you know, throwing the fire, and then he gets burnt. And it makes sense how he looks. Like he actually looks like a burned victim. And so I think the look is really cool, but they don't ruin the look. They still give him the Christmas sweater and the hat. So he still has all those iconic stuff with the glove and everything like that. But I just think the skin looks more realistic to me. I like the characters in here. They still have a lot of the iconic moments with, you know, the glove coming out of the bathtub. So you get all those cool kind of callbacks to the original. To me, it's just more of a darker, serious take on it. Like you don't have Freddy joking around in this one. Hardly at all. I mean, it's not comedic. It's not goofy in any way. I just thought the story made sense to me. I just thought it looked really cool. I thought it was written well. I didn't have any issue with this movie. And then when I heard everybody was like, I hate this movie, I'm like, why? I don't understand. Could someone explain this to me? And no one's been able to explain it. Everybody's just like, oh, it's not the original. You know, it doesn't live up to Robert Englund. I'm like, well, I thought, you know, this new actor did a great job with what he was given. I thought it worked well. I like the Rooney Mara, right? The actress. She was really good in this one. So I thought they had great. No, I'm a Rooney Mara fan. Oh my gosh, I think she's awesome. So I really liked everything in this movie. I thought the dream sequences were really terrifying. To me, this is more serious than any of the other Nightmare on Elm Street movies. All the other Nightmare on Elm Street movies have a little bit of goofiness to them. This had like no goofiness at all. So that's why I like it. But now you guys can trash it, take turns. You guys can go beat up on it. Whoever wants to start the beating.
I'm only gonna say one thing. I
Uh,
don't like Nancy. Like the Nancy in this is terrible.
Oh man.
But I actually like this movie for what it is. I don't think it's like. I don't think we should be grouping it in with the original series. But I did not like that girl at all. I watched this day before yesterday, and the whole time I'm like, this girl's annoying the piss out of me. Like, they should have just renamed the character and it not be Nancy. It was already a remake anyways.
Totally. Yeah.
Like, it was already a remake. Now, I did like the guy that played Quentin, but I like that actor. I can't think of his name. And then the other kid, I can't remember the character's name, but his name is Thomas Dekker, and he played in the Terminator show. And I liked him in this movie. I thought he was really good. He probably should have been the main character, and it could have been a final boy rather than trying to just do the Nancy thing again with somebody that shouldn't have been Nancy. That's kind of how I feel. But it has some of the coolest kills. Like, there's some really cool kills in this one.
Man.
All right, Huck, you're continuing the beating.
All right, look. So help, Mike. I'm going to help you understand.
Explain it to me. Explain
All right,
it.
so first of all, Jeff, you're right. So let me tell you, I also like Rooney Mara, but everyone, especially her, they do the one thing I hate that actors do in certain movies, and it's called whisper acting. and they keep acting so minimally that there's no enthusiasm, there's no energy. I didn't give a rat's ass about Nancy. She had no passion, and she's so meek because of her choice of delivery that there's no way in hell she ever would have had the chutzpah and the capability to kill Freddy, ever. That character is not somebody who could have done what she did, ever. And I love Jackie Earle Haley. I think he's a fantastic actor. I think because of the hyper realism of his burn makeup, it was restricting his speech. So it felt like he was dubbed a lot. Whereas Freddy, they designed it so that Robert Englund could be very expressive, whether you like the goofy or not. And everything you said too, Mike, about it being serious and real and all that is all the reasons I do not like this movie. I think it was super boring. You know, after you finish off all of these movies, and part of their charm is the humor, is that character Freddy, and to take all that away, and yeah, the glove coming out of the bathtub. Why? That is an iconic shot from the first one. That is not fan service. That you're just ripping off an iconic shot from the first movie that I felt was completely unnecessary. And as soon as they did that, I'm like, I've seen that done better in the first one. So all of that stuff is why I dislike this movie so much.
See, what you're saying, Huck, is just making me love it more, because this is how teenagers actually act. Teenagers wouldn't over just like enthusiasm.
No, they're underacting. That is not how they'd act. They would act way more freaked out. They would be so freaked out. They would be like, Mike,
teenagers all the time with my work, and to me, I'm like, this is how teenagers act. So,
do they act around psycho killers a lot? There's a lot of psycho killers around your school.
I'm just saying, this generation, like, it fits these kids from this.
That's how they would react to a psycho killer. I disagree, but okay.
I have a teenage daughter, and I don't think she would react like that.
No, not at all.
Anyway, you wanted me to take over, so that's my 2 cents. Whisper.
All right, I'll step in and say something. I had very issues with this. I mean, I think Jackie Earle Haley was a good choice to play Freddy Krueger. I had no problem with the story overall, because you have to remember, it's a remake of the original. Freddy was not funny in the original. He was not supposed to be funny. He was supposed to be terrifying. Jackie Earle Haley plays it terrifyingly. He's a really good Freddy Krueger. I do want to agree with Huck. The way his makeup, or whatever the hell it was they put on him, it looks like he's barely even moving his mouth when he talks.
Yeah.
So it's kind of garbled and you can't understand it.
But that's how
I do agree that's how Well, I don't know. I don't know any burn victims who are around, slashing people.
Talks like he hangs around burn.
But if you're that extremely burned, like your mouth is going to be messed up, like things are going to be melded together. Like that's exactly.
But it's a movie, Mike, and we need performance.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe it.
I do like the fact that they actually added that he was a child molester in this. Because I know Wes originally had him as a child molester, but they kind of removed that because of they were afraid of how people would take it. But and how they actually showed the parents going after Freddy and actually what they did to him, I thought was great. Again, I will side with Huck that I don't care about the kids in this. I'm sorry, I really don't. I mean, Rooney looks like she was just subdued the entire time.
The whole time.
Like she was on some kind of drug.
They've been awake for the longest time. You wouldn't have all this energy jumping around like Nancy is in the original. No, you would be like that if you were that sleep deprived. What? I don't know.
Okay.
But it's the most logical out of all of the movies.
Don't let Mike direct a movie.
But
I will make it make sense. So if you want things to make sense,
you have to look at it like, I mean, this is a remake of the first one. Freddy was not funny in the first one. You have to separate that. Freddy was supposed to be terrifying in the first one. He's terrifying in this one, and that's it. Everybody hated on. Oh, he's not funny. He's not supposed to be funny. Not in the first one. He's not. And as for the glove coming out of the bathtub, I'm okay with it, but yeah, I agree. It is an iconic shot, and it really maybe it shouldn't have been there, especially not with Rooney Mara just playing dead in the bathtub.
I was kind of hoping it would have got her.
All right, who's next up? Fish.
Sure. Yeah. No. I overall am not a huge fan of remakes to begin with, and since I've been watching this since I was 6 years old, not a fan at all. Period. I mean, I get it. Of course, darker tone. It is a dark subject. You know, Freddy. You know, child molester, murderer. You know, I get that. I also get the effect of this is what a burn victim would look like, you know, technically, or like actually, not technically, but actually. I just would like everybody said, it's slow. I wasn't invested in anybody. I could have cared less. But and then tapping on beats from the original, like the bathtub scene, or even when her friend Chris is killed in bed with her boyfriend, it's the same as Tina, but done shittily. You know, he's throwing her around the room, and I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm like, no. And then when he actually slashes her, it looks like there's 4 of them, and they go like this, like his hand is like this big because of the flash marks. I'm like, I'm done. I couldn't get into this one. And like he said, Rooney Mara was giving me Kristen Stewart in Twilight. It was just awful. I just couldn't do it. Just ruined it. Not that I was, you know, hyped for it to begin with, but I'm not a fan. Not a fan.
All right, did everybody get their licks in there?
I don't think I said mine yet.
Oh yeah.
So this
finish it off.
Best for last.
And Mike, go ahead and take down your fan service while he says you've burned that in.
A very wise comment.
It's burned into my OLED.
You burned it in for 20 minutes.
So remember I was saying this is my favorite series and I like every movie the same. So this is the only one that I don't even consider this part of the series because I think this movie is an abomination. And I actually hate the fact that they say so bluntly and fully out loud that he's a child molester. You know, even though it was hinted before and they took it out for whatever reasons they wanted to. I like that they didn't put that full-fledged out there like that. It was just, you know, something that kind of a tone before that you would just think in the back of your mind, but they never made any real acclamations or show us, you know, things like that. So I just didn't like that they did that. Again, how you were saying too, Huck, that main girl, her whisper acting drove me nuts. I hate when people do that, and it just seems so fake. And I don't know any freaking teenagers that act like that in my life, so that annoyed the shit out of me. And then the guy that played Freddy also, I didn't. I know, Mike, that's what a burn victim would look like. For me, it just didn't work for Freddy. Like if they wanted to do this, do a whole different story. Don't make it Freddy. Make this a whole different thing that somebody this happened to, you know, somebody without, you know, just a twist. I don't know, but I just as a remake of the Nightmare on Elm Street thing, I hated it. And I actually like the Friday 13th remake. I like remakes. It's not that I don't like remakes, but it's if you're going to do it in the way that I like it or a way, you know, that I don't like it. You know, Hills Have Eyes remake was amazing. Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake was amazing. But this one was just, I tried literally to watch this movie for years, and I'd watch a little bit of it. I can't do it. And finally, I think it was probably maybe 2 years ago when I actually finally forced myself to watch the entire thing. So yeah, I despise it with a passion.
Now, Vin, you would know probably more than I would. Didn't Robert Englund have words to say about that choice in the movie about them making Freddy a predator?
I believe
wasn't he like offended by that?
Yeah, I think that's actually where I kind of had the similarities with my thoughts about it, because I'm almost positive he did say that it's like, you know, there was never, you know, that's making it look even worse than what it was, you know, and just they didn't have to go that route in order to do that, and it just made him darker than kind of too dark. You know, again, if it was in a different story, there are stories like that can be that dark, but with Freddy and Nightmare on Elm Street, it's just, I don't know, it went too far that way.
All right. Okay, so let's get to.
I'm with you,
well,
man.
before we get to our individual rankings, let's go around real quick and just say what we think maybe the top 3 is going to be out of our group ranking. So just make a quick prediction here. Don't think too hard about it. Just what do you think might be the top 3? So, Jeff, what do you think is going to be the top 3 in the group ranking? From
As in 1, 2, and 3, or just somewhere in the mix?
1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Somewhere in the mix. I think we're probably looking at like 1, 3, and 4.
Okay.
And that's 1, and then 3, and then 4.
Okay. Vin, what are you thinking?
I think it's going to be somewhere around 1, 3, and Freddy versus Jason.
All right. Fish, what are you thinking?
I was thinking the same thing as Jeff, like a 1, 3, and 4. But after hearing everybody talk, I might be leaning a little more towards Vin with the Freddy versus Jason 1, 3, and yeah, that one.
All right, Huck, what are you thinking?
Personally, I think it will be 1, 3, and 4. I think Dream Warriors might even be number 1, then the first one, and then Dream Master. I want Freddy versus Jason up there. I didn't feel like quite heard enough people as impassioned as a couple of us up here with that one. So I feel like that one might be like in the top 5, but not the top 3, even though I like it.
All right, Johnny, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking it's 1, 3, and probably Freddy versus Jason.
All right. So let's get to our individual rankings here. Let's go. Jeff, you ready with your individual rankings? You want to go from bottom to best?
Okay. So we got Freddy's Dead, Dream Child, Remake, Dream Master, A New Nightmare, Freddy vs. Jason, Part 2, Dream Warriors, Part 1.
All right. Vin?
So Remake is going to be last, then Freddy versus Jason, then Freddy's Revenge, then Part 1, then Freddy's Dead, then Dream Child, then Dream Master, then New Nightmare, then Part 3, Dream Warriors.
All right, Fish?
Wow.
All right. So I've got Remake, Freddy's Dead, and then Dream Child, Freddy versus Jason, New Nightmare, Freddy's Revenge, Dream Master, Dream Warriors, and then OG.
All right, Huck?
Once again, that Remake right at the bottom, the turd that it is. And then I'm going Part 2, Freddy's Revenge. Part 6, Freddy's Dead. Then 7, Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Then Dream Child at number 5. Number 4 is Dream Warriors. 3 is Dream Master. Then the OG at number 2, and Freddy freaking versus Jason at number 1.
I knew it.
I could go watch that again right now. Johnny, what you got, Johnny?
All right.
Johnny.
Yeah.
My whisper.
For the worst one, I got Dream Child. After that, Freddy's Revenge, Freddy's Dead, the Remake, Dream Master, Freddy versus Jason, New Nightmare, the original, and Dream Warriors is my number 1.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right. My bottom 3, I don't like at all. I want them out of the franchise. So 2 at the bottom. Get that one out of here. It's too weird. 5, just a boring version of number 4. 7, doesn't even make sense. So don't like those. All right. Next up, we're going to have 6, 4, and I consider these like dumb fun, good horror comedies. I can get a kick out of them. All right, next I will go with really good, original, and then number 3. And then, of course, the masterpieces. The best of the best. Probably would make a top 100 movie list of all time for me. Remake, and then Freddy vs. Jason.
That was almost a good list.
Those numbers. Those numbers.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Look at that, man. Oh, dude.
That's dope.
That is cool. Go full
Let's zoom
screen
in
on
on
that.
that. Let me zoom in on that sucker. Oh my god.
Nice.
Dude, dude.
Yes, yes.
But
That's
wait,
gorgeous.
there's more. Let me show you one
Oh,
more time.
wait, there's more. Like the Homeboy Shopping Network.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Hey, that's your thumbnail when you turned off your camera.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
Dude, that's dope. I got to get me one of
That's
those
awesome.
gloves.
Hell
it's for sale.
Nice. All right. Well, I can't wait to see how they shape up. Look at Mike crunching the numbers.
Oh
Yeah.
no, I'm agreeing with
Yeah.
a comment in here. So yeah. All right. Okay, so let's go to group ranking here. So at the bottom, any guesses here?
The remake.
The remake.
I mean, the remake was pretty low on at least 3 of us. It was,
Yeah.
What if I
It's probably
said
Freddy's Dead.
the remake is not the only one at the bottom?
Well, you rated yours so high, I can see that. I think
Yeah.
number 2, maybe.
So
Yeah.
Freddy's Dead.
Yeah.
So we actually have a tie
Freddy
at
Krueger.
the bottom. So we do have a
Alright.
tie. 9th and 8th place. You guys got one of them right with the remake, but also we have Freddy's Dead.
Freddy's Dead.
Final
Oh.
pick, and number 6.
Yeah, I had that
Yeah.
at 7.
Yeah.
That's
That's
cool.
That's my bottom 2.
They both got 18 points.
Well done,
18
fish.
points. And I was so close on the remake, just could have gotten up a higher spot. But, all right. 7th place, number 5, The Dream Child. 19 points, only 1 point separated
point.
that from the bottom. That's hilarious. That's why I'm
Dang.
like, oh, I could have moved the remake one spot up on my list, and we would have had, I had to stay true to my list. Freddy vs. Jason is a little bit better than the remake. So. All right, so 6th place. What are we thinking 6th place now? Any guesses?
The New Nightmare.
Freddy's Revenge.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Freddy's
Yeah.
Revenge, 21 points.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, and then Huck, you were right with 5th place. Wes Craven's New Nightmare, 32 points. But you guys were speaking so highly of this one. I thought it was going to be higher up initially.
Yeah.
I guess I just
I
brought
love
it down.
That's about where I felt. Man. The top 4 is going to be banging. It's exactly what I thought.
Okay,
Top 4.
so what do we think on number 4?
Yeah.
Dream Master. Huh?
Dream Master. I would say Dream Master too.
Yep, Dream Master
Yeah.
with
Let's
35 points. That is pretty
Oh
good.
yeah.
So what is going to be number 3 then?
Freddy
Dream.
vs.
what would-
Jason.
Oh, wait.
Dream
Freddy
Warriors.
versus Jason.
Freddy versus
Oh, you think
Jason.
Freddy
Freddy vs. Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Jason, 36 points, was really close to that 4th place spot. So
Dang.
yeah, me and
Oh,
Huck
geez,
got
man.
that one way up there.
Yeah, you
We
did.
gave it all of our highest.
Yeah, you
points.
did.
We tried, Mike. We tried.
Hey, we did good. I was happy it made top 3.
Yeah.
All right, so 2nd place, interesting.
Oh,
What do you
geez.
guys think?
The
I think
number
it's going to
1.
be OG.
The original.
All right.
The original
Yep,
one.
Yep.
44.
Wow,
I mean,
Dream
look at
Warriors. Look at
36
that.
Yep.
to 44. That is a big jump up.
Dang. That is.
I was kind of shocked though, because everybody speaks so highly of the original. I did not think 1st place was going to be A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, 47 points. I'm happy with that one because I put it higher.
Yeah,
on my
I'm
list,
happy with
so.
this.
Yeah.
But it was just
Yeah.
that one was high up on everybody's list. I don't know if it was number 1 on many people's list, but it was like top 3 a lot of the time. So it just brought it way up. So
That's like the fan favorite. That's like everybody's
yeah.
favorite one. So
Yeah.
it makes sense. And man, I
Yeah.
try not to be part of everybody's group, but it really is the best one. It's amazing
It's
for me
really good.
personally. I love it.
there you go. That's the definitive one out there, people. We've had 6 amazing minds that
Mhm.
did all the research watching these films, and we got
Yes,
to
we
that's
did.
the number 1.
We lived through them, y'all.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't have to.
Yep.
So anybody shocked? Anybody any surprises on that final ranking, or is it kind of where you guys thought it was going to be?
I will say with Dream Warriors, like even though I put it at number 4, for me, Dream Master and Dream Warriors, when I saw both of them, I kind of feel the same about them both. But I really liked it. You know what I mean? So it hitting number 1 doesn't surprise me because I think it hits the stride. Robert Englund is just killing it at that point, owning that role. Yeah.
Yeah, creativity in its max.
I mean, it's kind of hard because what is there 9 movies here? There's only one.
Yeah.
There's only one that's really bad and unwatchable, and 2 that are kind of cringy, and the rest of them you kind of watch and have a good time with.
Yeah.
So
All right. So, well, let's go with our last question, and we'll go through this quick because I know we got to get to sleep, right? So we got to have lots of nightmares tonight, right?
Yeah.
But where should they go next with Nightmare on Elm Street? Oh man, this is such a perplexing question here. So I guess I'll start with this one. You guys know I love the remake. I thought that should have been a whole new franchise, make sequels off of that one. So I would have done a sequel, like go into a Dream Warriors remake, change it up. I want it to be a little bit different, but the same flavor where we see people with superpowers in the dreams, do something cool with that. But of course, different characters, different superpowers, that type of thing. I thought that would have been awesome. But we haven't gotten a Freddy movie in like 14 years. How disappointing. Because everybody trashed on the remake. It's all your guys' fault. All right. Now, Tony, where do you think they should go?
yeah, but it still made money.
Honestly, don't. Because as soon as you put this into production, you're going to have the haters come out of the woodwork, and they're just going to trash it, and they may end up just stopping production on it. For me, I had no problem with Jackie Earl Haley doing it, but I think God, I don't think you could pull off some of the stuff that they did back then now. I really don't. Because horror, that type of horror is probably kind of a hard sell now. But if they do it, I'd give it another 5-10 years, and then just, like Mike said, do kind of like a Dream Warriors-esque type film.
All right. Huck, what are you thinking?
Now, my only comment to you, Mike, about the Dream Warriors, because we all love Dream Warriors, it is 100% does not fit in the remake that you love so much. So you could not do a Dream Warriors in the tone of that remake. It just simply.
I think you could.
It does not fit.
You can make it serious.
It does not.
Make
it does not
serious.
fit.
Yeah.
So, but with that, that's where I say you have to forget the remake so you can find a lot of the fun that used to be in the series because look, we all get it. The original and the remake are more serious in tone, but what it's become is something that fans really like. Jason was also a much more serious tone, but he's now such a killing machine. It's almost comical, but that's what we look for. That's what we want in that character now. And because these things have such longevity to them, they're not new. They're never going to be new to somebody because of how much exists already, right? So I figured
put them in space, then send them to space. Everybody else has done it. Send them to space.
And Wes Craven even said it. It's tough to kind of keep this going because you have to keep upping yourself because there's only so much dream stuff you can do before you just get bored. So to me, if they do it again, I kind of feel like after seeing all this, I don't know where they go because I feel like they didn't even know where to go with the remake, is bring some energy, some enthusiasm, some fresh kills, some, just energy to the franchise so that it's not putting you to sleep like they do in the movie. We're the audience. We need to be awake and enjoying it, not sleeping like the people in the movie.
So you would go horror comedy then?
I'd go a little bit horror comedy and maybe even throw some names in there now. Like Jackie Earle Haley wasn't even a big name. I'd say let's find somebody that's currently like a Timothy Chalamet or something that people love. No, but I mean maybe
make it a
not,
musical. Let's do it.
You know what I mean? Maybe not him, but somebody that's going to bring in an audience, somebody that's got real. Because look, Timothy shows that he can do something like Dune and then Willy Wonka, which are hyper different characters. So I think we need somebody that's got that kind of range.
All right. Fish, what are you thinking?
Well, yeah, I can see going that route, absolutely. But I mean, once again, I don't think they should.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I think Robert Englund was so iconic in this role that I hate to judge somebody else's take on, a character off of like an original. But I mean, you can't help but compare the two. And to me, there's no comparison. And I just
So do you
don't
bring?
see it.
Do
I
you
don't.
bring?
I don't see it ending
bring them
up
back?
well again. Like this remake. I mean, even if they did a remake, like completely rebooted and started the whole thing over and made it a little more like what Huck was talking about, I don't know if it would do that well.
Yeah.
I don't. I really don't. So I mean, leave it as is. Let it. Let him die, so to speak, and just live on through the dreams of his past movies.
So, Fish, you wouldn't even do like a legacy sequel where we bring Robert Englund back?
Oh, man,
I think he's too old.
You know
I
what?
think he's too old.
I
I'm
actually,
pretty sure he
actually
said he wouldn't do it for any amount of money in the world now.
and
Yeah,
actually,
he
I've
said
heard,
he
I've actually
would.
heard talks of an actor. I know a few of us actually enjoy about wanting to do the role if they ever did redo it again. It was Devon Sawa.
Ooh,
He's actually shown interest in playing Freddy Krueger. So
he's still young enough to be able to do
Yeah.
it for a while too.
he's in his mid to late 40s. I'm right there with him. So yeah, I actually seeing it with like Huck said, a name, to bring in an audience. Devon's got that that whole Chucky aspect right now, plus the whole Final Destination thing. Idle Hands, he's a icon of the 90s for young teenage horror. So possibly seeing it go that route, but I don't know.
All right,
We'll
Vin.
see if they do anything with it.
I really don't know. I mean, I feel like they for sure, no offense, need to scrap the remake and not go off of that. My idea, the only thing that I would feel like it would be something that I would be excited about is if they were to try to just, keep the style of the sequels from the original series, that creativity and the dreams, and try to bring that creativiness that we've seen within the dreams into something more modern, whatever it may be. I'm not that creative to think about that, but I just want to see more of that. That's what I loved about the sequels of Nightmare on Elm Street, just the creativity of the sceneries and the sets and all the stuff that was happening in the imagination of a dream. And I want to see that in more of a modern time if they were to ever do that, like to the extreme, like how they did before. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Jeff, what are you thinking?
I mean, honestly, I think they should just leave it. They're always trying to make money on my nostalgia.
Yeah.
But if they're going to do it, which they probably will because it's money, I think they should wait another 10 years. Wait until the original one's 50 years old. We're almost 25 years out from the remake. And if they're going to go through and remake it, what they should do is take the first movie and make it like a 15-minute beginning of an opening, and kind of do what they did with the Friday the 13th remake and remake the first 4, except we're going to take 2 out of there and we're going to go 1, 3, 4, 5 and make it one big long 2.5-hour movie. Terrifier has shown that it works.
Yeah.
But if we're going to do something like that, do that. But what I really want is something that nobody else has mentioned, which was the original sequel to Freddy versus Jason, which is Freddy versus Jason versus
Ash. Dude, I was just gonna say
I
that.
love Evil Dead.
I'm down for that.
If we're really just gonna do it, let's just do that.
Yep.
Bruce Campbell's still down for doing it.
Yep.
Robert Englund says he wouldn't come back, but if we give him enough money and all he really has to do is do like 12 minutes of filming for $1.2 million, the dude's probably coming back and doing that.
Yeah.
And then we can pretty much get Kane Hodder to come back and play Jason for probably anything because he just wants to be Jason. I say let's get that versus movie and do it in the same tone as Freddy versus Jason. That's what I think. That's where I think they should go with all the characters because they all 3 are big icons to me.
All right, Jeff,
and that's what I think we should get.
You got my wheels turning now. I want to up that idea. I want to get all the most iconic horror slashers of all time, and we put it in a Mortal Kombat style tournament. You got Pinhead as the host.
Seriously,
oh my gosh, that would be amazing. So let's go.
Well, no, they were gonna pull on the Deadite thing from Jason Goes to Hell to bring Ash in with the Book of the Dead and stuff for the part 2, and I thought that was really gonna work. But Bruce Campbell at the time did not want to come back and play Ash. That was the holdup. And now he's like grasping at straws to do anything Ash related he can.
Yeah.
So I
Yep.
think now would be a good time to do that sequel. We all
I say
seem
we
to
can
have a
start
lot
up
of
at
fun with
Indiegogo
Freddy
right now,
versus
brother.
Jason.
I think
Let's go.
There you go.
I think we're all in agreement here that Ash will last about 20 seconds against Jason.
Probably.
That enough time for him to say, "Give me some sugar, baby," and Jason just popped him head.
All right.
Groovy.
Well, this was a great discussion, everybody.
Heck yeah.
Let's just go around real quick. Let the audience
Yeah.
know where they can find you if you got any upcoming stuff happening. So, Johnny, where can people find you? What do you got going on?
Okay, you can find me at What's Watching here on YouTube. I'm also active on Instagram. On TikTok sometimes. It's been so lazy. I have actually nothing coming up. So Jeff, we're trying to get together our movie watch, our club thing there for this month. We have no idea what we want to be watching, but yeah, that's it for me.
All right, you're being sucked into the dream world, Johnny. What's happening? I'm like, you're phasing out. What's going on?
Yeah.
Freddie's getting you. All right, Huck.
I don't know.
This was a lot of fun. Thanks, Mike, and everybody. This was super cool. Just to actually see this entire franchise, which I hadn't done, was really fun. So on my channel, Huck's Pop Culture Cafe, tomorrow morning we got the morning mug, 8 a.m. my time. Add 3 hours if you're on the East Coast. So come on in. We'll be talking about box office, new releases, and all that jazz. And the Joker Folie à Deux, we will be talking about that and what happened there. Yeah, I went to LA Comic-Con over the weekend. I should be posting something a little bit about that. I picked up right there. I got autographs for all 4 main Back to the Future actors on there. So
Wow.
about that, I will be showing that off.
That's awesome.
And that's
Nice.
about it. Yeah.
All right, Fish.
And I am planning, since it's October, a horror trivia. So if anyone's interested, start hitting me up on Instagram, because October 23rd is Halloween Day, I think they're calling it, or Horror Day. So I think I'm going to try to target it for Horror Day.
I feel like, what's going on October 23rd? Let me look.
Yeah.
All right, Fish, what do you got going on?
Oh, that's even perfect. That's my birthday, Huck.
All right, let's get you on.
Oh man, actually nothing planned in the near future for me. Just you can find some old videos on YouTube. I'm on Instagram as well. I try to post what I watch, so you can follow me along and see what I'm watching every night. But yeah, no big plans for anything personally on my channels. But Mike, thank you very much. As soon as you said, do you think you would want to be on any one of these streams? And you threw 2 names out there, and I was like, Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm there. I have to be there. It's like been it's probably my favorite horror franchise. It's right up there. It's fantastic. I love it. Robert Englund, fantastic. So thank you very much for having me and let me hang out with all these great guys and talk about this wonderful series.
Absolutely. Vin.
Awesome. Same thing, man. I forgot if I accidentally kind of weirdly invited myself on this one or if you invited me, but I really appreciate being here because this was an awesome conversation with everybody. But yeah, actually big news. This is actually the first time I've ever talked about this, but my channel is going to be going through a huge change. So please go and add my channel if you have not, but I recently got saved, and I also am trying to promote peace within the world, and I'm doing a lot of different kind of things than my normal channel does, and I'm just spreading peace out into the world, and it's been very beautiful right now. And I didn't want to turn it into a channel because I hate those people that kind of do it for clout and stuff like that, but it's been such a beautiful journey that I felt so good about it that I want everybody else to see it. So I am now I have about a GoPro, a Steadicam, the chest plate, everything like that, and I'm going to be vlogging my entire life so far. So a lot of stuff coming in the future, and be on the lookout. It's very exciting. I can't wait for everybody to see.
All right,
Great.
Jeff.
Thank you.
Sounds
the only
awesome,
thing
man.
I got coming up is I'm gonna do your October challenge.
Hey,
An
somebody's
October
doing
snack.
that. Yeah.
Tomorrow morning I'll be in Huck's chat, like every Tuesday morning, and then tomorrow night I'm over on Bob's Blu-rays at 8:30 for a watch list of movies he gave me to watch. Besides that, I'm not really sure what else. Oh, next Monday I'm on your channel again. And then that's pretty much what I got going on.
Awesome. Yes. So next Monday will be a super fun stream. Split the room. Is this movie scary or not? So that's going to be a great one. That's going to be super fun and entertaining. Perfect for the season. And just as Jeff was mentioning, the October challenge, if you have not taken on this amazing challenge, it's really easy. You're just picking some horror movies you enjoy that spell out the word October, so a title for each letter. That's all you have to do. You can put it in a video, you can just post it in the comments, you can show it on Instagram, TikTok, wherever you want to take the October challenge is perfectly fine. But yeah, definitely I'm excited to see more people participate in that challenge this year. It should be a great time. But yeah, just stay tuned to the channel. Tons of great live streams coming up for spooky season. Of course, tons of great video horror content. I'm going to keep you guys up to date on deals. So I covered Amazon deals today. And then we got Prime Day deals coming out here in another day. So it's like Dillapalooza in spooky season. It's just a great time. So
you do good on those videos too, brother. Those ones are good videos, man. Good job on those ones. I like those.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm just trying to save collectors money on their collecting journey, trying to find the best deals possible, because I know how it is sometimes. You're on a budget. You're like, can I still collect? Yes, you can still collect out there. There are still tons of great deals to help you build your collection. So yeah, definitely stay tuned on the channel for that. Subscribe, notification bell, so you're alerted when a new physical media topic video posts. But leave in the comments below, how would you rank the Freddy movies, of course? Do you love the remake like I do? We got to hear it. We got to support the remake out there.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
Yes.
Yes. Support the remake, of course. But yeah, everybody have a great night out there, and hopefully you don't have any nightmares. But yeah, have a good one, everyone.
God bless everyone.
So long.
And to search the bowels of hell.
See ya.
But I found someone.
You're big breaking TV. Fuck the